isn't gonna just blow over. The Zerg won't stop until we're all dead.
Vengeance shall be mine.
The seven evils are one within me. I am Legion.
Stay a while and listen.
To ask why we fight is to ask why leaves fall.
You are not prepared.
Warcraft players, where you at? Starcraft players, where you at? Diablo players, where you at?
We are laying down the pro tips this week. A legendary announcement is being crafted, and where is Ghostcrawler going to end up? Welcome to BlizzPro's TwizzCast.
Disturbing hallucinations. You're hearing voices.
Welcome to TwizzCast, everyone. We are here to share with you our experiences and news concerning all games under the Blizzard Entertainment logo, ranging from World of Warcraft, StarCraft, Diablo, but don't let the introduction fool you. We're going to bring you up to speed on all things Hearthstone and Heroes of the Storm. So before we do that, let me bring in my co-host, if you don't mind, from North Dakota, the rogue that you never saw coming and half the lore knowledge on this show. It is Reb. Welcome back, dear.
Wait, who are you calling a cootie queen, you lint liquor?
You are so southern.
Hello, Twiz. Hello, chat room. Hello, listeners. Hello, fellow co-hosts.
It is so good to have you here. So,
Good to be.
from the other side of North Dakota, the man who has spent more time transmogging than exploring the world of Azeroth, it's the awesome Prot Pally 5000, Hoda. Hello, sir.
Ow! I'm so excited. It's been so long. All I can do is make animal noises, so it might get weird. I was saying, hello, everybody.
And
hey, co-host.
It's weird. Okay, it's weird.
A little weird.
So,
a little weird.
And last but certainly not least, direct from Las Vegas, Nevada, giving West March and all places in the Tri-County area a severe beating. Please help me welcome back to the show the streaming demon, Archon. Hello, sir.
Hello, it's been far too long. I'm glad to be back. I'm excited to talk about some PTR.
Oh, there's a little bit, there's a whole heck of a lot going on there, and I can't wait to dive into that myself. So, and for those of you who are wondering, my name is Twizz. Hello, chat room. It's good to see you guys. I play a priest deck during the day and slay demons at night, so basically I'm going to be applying for the lead role in the next Exorcist movie. So, yeah, just so everybody knows. Anyways.
That's solid.
Wasn't it, though? Wasn't it? Appreciate that. So, you know what? Just a reminder, guys, there's several ways that you can get your TwizzCast and BlizzPro fix. We're available on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and the RSS feed can be found at TwizzCast.com. The show notes and everything that you're going to need from this episode will be on TwizzCast.com and BlizzPro.com. And if you want to subscribe to our Twitch TV channel, you can get an email when we go live. So go over to twitch.tv/TwizzCast, hit the follow button, and you will not miss our show. So lastly, for those of you who are interested, you can feel free to email us podcast@BlizzPro.com. One of the things that I'm going to be changing up is I'm going to be uploading this show right after it's done. So yeah, I'm doing that from now on. It's going to be up like probably 10-15 minutes after the show is over with. So if you missed the beginning of the show or you missed the end of the show or whatever, the download will be available for you tomorrow morning. So let's see here. What else? It's been so long since I did this stuff. Oh my gosh. As always, you know what, guys, seriously, we do actually have a lot of ground to cover in a small amount of time to do it. And so let's talk about what we've been doing in gaming the past 2 weeks, since last week was Thanksgiving in the States and we didn't have a show. So what I really want to know from you guys is two things. First off, how was your Thanksgiving and what have you been doing in gaming? Hoda, talk to me.
Well, first off, since Angry took my spot last time, he kind of punted me out like little gnomes that he kicks around all the time, right? I figured I'd give a picture of Angry since he's not here. I don't know if we can all see it like that.
Very nice.
I figured I'll give him props like he did me. So good for that. Thanksgiving was really fun. I just had family in town here, so I didn't really have to travel. So that was really nice. Other than that, it was really lazy, which was awesome because I played Hearthstone like a fiend.
Ooh.
Like I think I'm Grandmaster Champion of Suckage, really.
Grandmaster Champion of Suckage?
Yes, because I'm still not good.
It's a real thing.
After all I played. It's a real thing, I think. No, I played a lot of Hearthstone, and it's super fun. I know you're going to talk about Kilroy a little earlier, but he was picking on me bad because he's like, oh, let me show you this deck. Let me show you this deck to try to make me better, right? No, it doesn't work very well. But no, it's really fun. I got into the, let me see. I kind of got a little cocky, okay? I was like building my own decks, right? I was like, I got this. I can do like mage, you get spell power minions out and stuff, like you just own.
Yeah.
And as soon as I go into the arena where you have to like build the deck on the fly, that's where I'm not very good at.
Yeah.
Not at all.
A little different ball game there.
Yes, not at all. So that was really fun. And then in WoW, you talked about a couple weeks ago, I think you and Archon were kind of discussing about, you remember how, I wouldn't say I'm burned out of like raiding Siege of Orgrimmar yet, because it's a great raid, but I went back into WoW to like experience it rather than try to be, I don't know, Archon, how did you put it? Efficient? Is that right? Something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, with gear and everything. So I went.
He has no idea what you're gonna say, so you could have been like, "What's the word I'm looking for?"
He should know. He
fart
should
knocker. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Yes. So no, I've been doing like the low level thing and just exploring. Like I've been like ignoring like everybody. I'm sorry if you've been talking to me in like guild chat.
Ignoring Reb.
Definitely Reb. You're like on my block list actually now. So. Hopefully you don't talk to me anymore. But no, that's been really fun. Like I'm just exploring the nick and crannies of like all the caves, like things I did before, but I kind of forgot. So I'm trying to experience that. I know it sounds kind of lame, but it's been like super, like I don't know. It's been really fun. It's kind of energized me to keep playing WoW. So that's what's been happening with me. Other than that, I don't know. It's been busy, but I don't know what's happening. What about you guys?
I don't know. Red, what are you up to?
I'm gonna go next then.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I'm like on the opposite end of the spectrum, Hoda. I have been busier than a one-armed wallpaper hanger. First off, I think I mentioned this before we went on Thanksgiving break, but I had got new daggers. So I had replaced my 489s, which I had got like the first month of Mogushan Vaults. Like it's crazy. I've had it for like over a year, and I finally got daggers, and I can finally kill stuff, and I'm not stabbing stuff with pencils anymore, and it's super, super awesome. By the way, Thanksgiving was awesome. This is the first year I haven't been with my family back home, but I made the food, and I enjoyed Blizzard games, and it was pretty awesome. Anywho, back to in-game.
Food.
Yeah, it was pretty good, though.
Was it? Okay.
It's pretty good. Better than my in-game cooking. Anywho, I had enough damage to finally go through and start working on the legendary quest again. And so I had been stuck on the part where you actually have to defeat a certain celestial that is tailored towards your type of either damage, heals, or tanks. And I was doing the Celestial Tiger because I'm melee DPS. And it was a little bit difficult to kill Rathian because I just didn't have the damage output. And so now that I have the daggers, it was pretty simple to go in there. It took me like 2 tries to get them down. And I finally was like, yes, I've been stuck on this for weeks. Like these daggers are a lifesaver. And then I got to the part where you actually have to kill all 4 of the Celestials. And of course, nobody kills all 4 of the Celestials on the Timeless Isle anymore. Nobody.
I did this week. Just saying.
Well, Angry was nice enough to get a group together for me because he was like, oh, you need the Celestials? I was like, yeah, put together a raid. And he did, and we only did one, and I was kind of disappointed after everyone left. And I was like, okay, whatever. So I actually used Open Raid, which was one of our sponsors. I went on there, and this was the first time like I had actually used it to like find a group. I know like I had signed up because we were going to do particular events, but this is the first time I've been like solo trying to find somebody. And I was able to get into a few groups and eventually kill all 4 of the Celestials. I got my cloak, my legendary cloak, yay!
Hey!
And then, yeah!
Right.
I never thought I would get it. And
TwizzCast is filmed in front of a live studio audience.
Right after I got my cloak, one of our guildies, Besso, she was doing a cross-server Ordos kill. So I immediately got to do Ordos, and it was super fantastic and fun. And I got a Warforged belt, and it was cool, and I felt like I was doing DPS again. And so
Let me ask you a question. How many people did you actually need for the Celestials kill? Because they just recently changed that. Are going to change that?
They already nerfed their health pool. So I believe when Angry did it, we probably had like 25 to 30 people. So we had at least 10 people less than we normally do. The other groups, we had about 40 because we were using Open Raid, and so the invites were coming pretty swiftly. As far as like after I got my Ordos Kill Knight, after I got my Warforged belt, I actually did some flex raiding with Angry as well. I believe it was this past Saturday or the Saturday before. I can't remember. The weeks kind of blur together. And I got more gear. And so it was super cool to get all this gear. And I got out of the raid. We actually were competing, like doing a little race for the first 2 parts of the flex against another flex team that was going on at the same time. And we won. So yay, that was pretty fun.
Nice.
Yay. And so when I got out, I had the belt to gym and put a belt buckle on and whatnot. I had a new helmet and I think a new neck piece. So altogether I had like 3 pieces waiting for me to actually like get it all together and put it into my set. And so I put it all in and I was like, you know what? Like I have so many pieces of new gear that I really need to get some help on this. So I used our other sponsor, Ask Mr. Robot, and I got everything fixed as far as like my enchants, my gems. Like up until this point, I really felt that my gear was subpar and I didn't want to pay that much attention to it and spend that much gold trying to fix it.
Sure.
But now that I felt like I was on par with everybody, I fixed it, and it's pretty awesome to see. I was used to being on top of the DPS charts before, and then Pandaria hit, and I've been slipping all the way to like 10th place in LFR sometimes, and that's kind of embarrassing. And so it was really cool. Like, yeah, after I got all of my stuff reforged and gemmed, I've been doing really, really well in LFRs. And actually, it was pretty cool. I think it was in another flex raid that we did that the maximum that I've ever seen my damage. Now, keep in mind, this was a huge group of ads. All I was doing was Fan of Knives. The maximum I got to was 1.2 million damage per second. It was nuts.
Only.
I don't think you can comprehend just how much that is.
The day Red broke recount.
And then when I go to LFRs, I'm now on top of the DPS meters again. And I think the most that I've seen in LFR that I have maxed at, that's with like ads and doing cleave damage and also having a little bit of buffs, is right around 700k. And that was like the absolute maximum. That only stood for like less than 10 seconds. But you know, it's cool. It's nice to be back on top, and I'm really reforging. So Open Raid and Ask Mr. Robot have really saved my butt. And I got on my Alliance Warrior. I wanted to do a little bit more damage on her. I used Ask Mr. Robot to help me out with her gear. Sure. Unfortunately, I ran out of gold, so I can't reforge her gear. So
Wait, what? Wait, you were like the auction. Elvine is in the chat room right now, and he is not going to be happy about this. I'm here to tell you.
I AH on my horde, so my alliance really don't have anything. They're kind of like just the broken down stepsisters begging in the streets, you know?
Elvine's like, you ran out of gold? What? Yeah. I called it.
But she's halfway there. All she needs is her reforges, and she'll be good to go. And while I was on my alley, I was trying to clear out my quest log, and I noticed I still had pet battle quest in there. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to get on some pet battles. And I picked it back up. My team was like level 6 or 7 or so. Mm-hmm. And then, wouldn't you know it, in about a week or so of pet battling, I've got them to level 21. So it's really fun, and I'm really on fire for Fire Crotch. That's my elemental Cinder Kitten. She is so amazing. And then I have my Creminius and my Celestial Dragon. By the way, I need a name for my Celestial Dragon. If you have a recommendation, tweet me at TankThatReb or email us at podcast@Plizzbro.
That's right.
Plizzbro.com. You know, Plizzbro.
Plizzbro. That's right.
Plizzbro.
You said
it's a new name.
What was the name? What did you say that name was of your was it your Cinder Kitten?
My Cinder Kitten, her name is Fire Crotch. Because she's on fire.
Let's talk a little bit more about
I don't
Fire
know if that
Crotch.
coins like that kind of music. That's a little weird.
All right, we can
just
make
the way that
that.
she comes out and she starts purring and scratching. She's just a Fire Crotch. She's on top of everything.
I just met his red cat walking out in slow motion to that music.
I know, right? oh no.
And last but not least, I'll mention this really quick. So after seeing the cosplay competition at BlizzCon, I was like, you know what? Next year, I'm going to do something. I have wanted to cosplay as Garrosh for so long, so I started on it.
He doesn't wear a shirt, Reb.
I know. That's a problem. I'll get creative with it.
I mean, it's not a problem. It's just how deep
There
in the
was
character you're
a
going to
female
get.
Lich Queen, if you remember correctly.
Exactly. So I can kind of adapt it, but I started on the cosplay and I was trying to make a skull for the belt. And this is all I came up with. If you're in the chat room, you can see on camera right now, like this skull is absolutely terrible. And so I'm scratching the idea. I'm starting from scratch.
It looks
I'll
very
keep you
Punisher.
updated.
That looks great. It has like the raised eyebrow, like the Rock.
Yeah, it does. And it actually has like a detailed like nose bridge. It's just, it was so annoying to like be crafting it as it was wet and like it was slipping and sliding all through my fingers and it wouldn't stay still and I was getting frustrated. So frustrated.
We're still talking about the skull right now because it's getting
We
a
are
little
still
saucy in
talking
here.
about
What is that made of?
It's called stone clay, lightweight stone clay, I believe.
Okay.
It's really lightweight once it's done, so it's like easy to like toss around and whatnot. But anyways,
Tastes great in milk too. So.
anyways, that was my very, very busy and long-winded week in gaming. What about you, Archon? What have you been up to?
Man, it's been an eventful 2 weeks. I'm trying to remember what happened 2 weeks ago and what we've already covered, but I'm pretty sure in the last 2 weeks was when me and Twiz and Nineball from Blizz Pro had our Diablo 3 gaming session. Is that right?
that was a good time.
Oh, such a good time. We streamed the three of us playing Diablo. We made new characters, Crusaders. And Twiz was a little nervous because he was a bit of a Diablo noob.
Oh.
Twiz did great, by the way. He still thinks he did really bad, but I think it's just because we kept trying to explain to you the Paragon system and how we have a bunch of Paragon points because we've already leveled characters, which gives us like a huge advantage at low levels.
Right.
But I think Twiz didn't quite understand that, so he just thought he was horrible and we were amazing. But you were doing fine. I mean, other than the your steed ability, which you kept running walls.
Here's the funny. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay. I couldn't figure that out. But here's the thing. Like, if you want to know how awesome Archon and Nineball were, like they were kiting ads back and forth, and so what would happen is like these ads like would come over and just one shot me and I'm done. And so then they would kite them to the other side, but one of them would run over and res me. And so I would get up and I would run over there and then they'd one shot me. Then they'd have to kite them to the other side of the platform again. And they'd have to send one, either Nineball or Archon would come back over to the other side of the platform and res me. So it's like, not only are these guys trying to take down mobs, but they're trying to res me. I probably got, in that whole poll, I bet you I got res probably 15, 20 times.
It was a lot of fun. Anyone who's listening who plays Diablo is probably confused, thinking like, wait, didn't they say they started new characters? Why did they have to kite mobs back and forth? I'll tell you why. Mm-hmm. Right when we got to the Skeleton King, we'd been playing on, I think, hard or expert, one of the lower difficulties. We got to the Skeleton King, we're like, let's turn up the difficulty, see if we can handle like a torment at low level. But just for giggles, I decided to turn up it to torment 6. Highest difficulty, just to see what it's like. Now the current highest difficulty on the live version is MP10, and if you do MP10 Skeleton King at low levels, it's hard, but it's not that bad. But Torment 6 is ridiculous. So the mobs that we were kiting back and forth were the 8 skeletons that spawn outside the Skeleton King, which took us at least 15 minutes to kill those 8 skeletons, right?
Oh, dude, it was nuts. It was
ridiculous.
No, it was longer than that. Because you had to res me. So
yeah, so we're going back and forth. And in all fairness, me and Nineball did get hit a few times. We just had a lot of Paragon points put into Vitality, so we weren't. We were able to take a few hits, or rather, I guess all res was probably was helping us the most. But then we got to Skeleton King. We fought him for probably 15 minutes before we realized we'd done about 2% of his health damage.
Yeah, 2% of it.
And then we gave up and we went to Torment 1, which still took a really long time. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Twiz did fine.
Dude, yeah. You know what? I probably would have been better off if my character had gone in there with like cardboard box armor. I mean, just being real here. So
maybe, yeah, we were pretty OP. But I guess also in Diablo, I tried the monk out from the request of my viewers, and I was just horrible. I don't play melee characters. I only play ranged characters, and I was so bad on the monk. I started out on Torment. I'm like, I think I can do Torment. I got mediocre gear, but I know what I'm doing. And maybe 20 minutes later, I'm like, okay, I got to drop it down. I can't do Torment. I can do Master. And I'm still dying on Master, and I can't figure it out. I'm trying new builds, and every every build I make is a little bit worse than the build I made before that. And then I drop it down to expert. And after dying about 6 or 7 times on expert, I said, "Sorry guys, the monk's not happening." I had to give up. I was so bad, and I've seen other streamers like Invis just owning with the monk. So it's definitely not a problem with the monk. It's me playing melee characters.
I've been there.
So
I've been there.
But yeah. We can relate there.
Yeah, and everybody saw it. About 650 people in your chat room saw it. So
yeah. Try to pretend no one else was watching.
Yeah, right.
But I tried out the Demon Hunter, which I think the Demon Hunter is just a bit weak, but I'm really enjoying her. But I keep going back to my Wizard. Wizard's just rocking it in Reaper of Souls. As far as updates to Reaper of Souls, they've been making some little hot fixes to the beta, and the biggest one they made, I think, in the last 2 weeks was they completely disabled Crushing Blow. Which and the reason they disabled Crushing Blow is because it's really overpowered if you gear right. For anyone who doesn't know, Crushing Blow removes 12% of the target's health. So if you have a 50% Crushing Blow chance, half of your hits are going to take away 12% of the target's health, and it's half of that. I'm sorry, is it 25% on regular minions and 12 on elite packs and bosses? I think they've been tweaking with it a little bit. I haven't been stacking Crushing Blow because it doesn't sound that fun to me. Even though it's really overpowered, I figured they'd nerf it, and they haven't figured out how they'd nerf it yet. But it's so overpowered they just disabled it because they would rather players test other things, since all the players have been incentivized just to stack Crushing Blow. So yeah, that was probably the biggest thing there as far as beta changes. But I have to keep reminding my viewers when I'm streaming that it is beta, because everyone's like complaining like, "Oh, this class is OP. I'm not going to play Reaper of Souls." The game's probably not going to come out for like 4 or 5 months. Like they're going to be tweaking a lot.
Sure.
So I wouldn't be surprised even if they like remove things like Crushing Blow.
Wow. Now let me ask you this, dude. How do you function when you play a beta like this and you spend so much time streaming it and playing it and getting to know it and everything like that? And then when the actual game launches itself, like what is that? How does it make you feel? Like, because you know that you're going to lose all the progress you just made and you're going to have to redo all of it again. But I mean, you know that going into it. But I mean, does that kind of lose your steam for the expansion or no?
No.
Because I have not done much beta testing before. I mean, literally within the past 6 months, I've done more beta testing than I've done ever in my life. And so, you know, like I'm starting to get to. I'm starting to learn the feel of like, oh my God, all my Hearthstone cards are gone. You know, and oh my God, I'm not gonna get to keep this Crusader. So I don't know. I just picking your brain, see how it makes you feel to do all this, and then know that it's going away.
Yeah, and a game like Diablo 3 that I play pretty seriously, it's all about just getting an advantage. And since everyone will be starting over at the beta, I feel like I'll have after the beta, I feel like I have a pretty big advantage having played the beta. Streaming helps because I get a lot of viewers when I'm playing the beta, so there's some encouragement to play it. But it's also just, it's the most fun I've had playing a video game in maybe forever. Like, it's so good, and it's just going to be so much better by the time it comes out, because not only will they have fixed a lot of stuff, maybe added a few things here and there, but things will be better balanced, and we'll actually be keeping everything we're earning. And I'm still crossing my fingers for ladders. I'm thinking they're going to put it in, but they haven't said for sure yet.
Okay. Best of Parg wants to know how the Reaper of Souls endgame feels, if it's different versus current Diablo 3.
Very different, in my opinion. Some people, a few people, I think a small minority, but an outspoken minority in my chat room, think there's the same thing. It's just killing monsters over and over again. But I like to remind them that's all endgame can be. Endgame has to be repeatable content.
Sure. Even
like World of Warcraft, I think has some of the best endgame out there.
Yeah.
You're still doing the same instances over
absolutely.
again.
Yeah.
You maybe you make one more boss
What?
this time.
What is this revelation?
I think a lot of people, when they think of endgame, they wanted new content made so fast that they never had to do the same thing twice.
Right.
Or just so much content they could never get through it. But as far as repeatable content, I think they've done a really good job in Reaper of Souls. There's a ton of randomization. You're never actually doing the exact same thing twice. And the reward system has something that the live version is missing completely, and that's predictable rewards.
Oh,
cool.
Yeah.
And something that WoW has. If I play this long, I'll probably get about this much.
Sure. Yep.
And you really can't make that prediction in vanilla Diablo 3, which makes it really frustrating to grind for hours on end when sometimes you get nothing.
Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah,
So,
Chiz, he's saying it's fun, so back off, bro.
I'm not. Hey, I'm
In my
speaking
opinion,
for
it's
the
as
people.
good as I can imagine it being. But yeah, other than Diablo 3, I've been addicted to the StarCraft map editor. I've been trying to get into game development, and so yes, anytime I have free, I'm putting into the map editor, and I hope to have like a game to show you guys in a couple months.
Cool.
Sweet.
Nice.
But that's been my 2 weeks. How about you, Twiz?
You know what? There's been a whole heck of a lot going on here. A little bit about the show first. I realized I had some time to think about over the past 2 weeks, like Thanksgiving and everything. Just missing that show last week really made me step back and take a look at a lot of things as far as how the show runs. And so here's what I did, just to let everybody know moving forward. We're making. I talked a little bit earlier about how we're adding some pro tips. And we're just going to do a little bit of that and whatever. But I looked at our lineup and it was like, okay, we've got 3 WoW people and a Diablo person. And it's like, that just seems so lopsided. So what I did is I'm still primarily, I'm still playing a lot of World of Warcraft. Don't get me wrong. But I'm shifting my focuses to Hearthstone now. And that is going to be, I'm going to try and be the best Hearthstone go-to guy for this show. So I've been like diving deep into Hearthstone, listening to other podcasts, which, by the way, the Happy Hearthstone podcast is really a great show. I latched onto that one. Good guys over there. I've listened to the Manacast as well. Ex Diga was one of the hosts. He was on our show maybe a month or so ago. But really good stuff. They are very technical oriented. But I've been a little...
Agreed, Twiz. 30 Rock in the chat room says, Hearth Pro, hello, bro.
I was getting there. Can I get there, please?
I was waiting for that. I was like, where's Hearth Pro, dude?
And of course, Blizz Pro's Hearth Pro podcast. Bottom line.
That was very dramatic.
It's like, are we continuing that thought? Or...
So, anyways... what was I talking about? Flying monkeys? I don't even know. But anyways, so yeah, I've been diving pretty deep into Hearthstone. Now, I will come back to the Hearthstone talk because I've got something that's pretty awesome that I want to kind of announce. You guys who are listening to the show live right now, keep an eye on the D3 website tomorrow because next Wednesday night on the 11th of December at 7 o'clock Central Standard Time, that's 8 o'clock Eastern and 5 o'clock Pacific, we are going live with one heck of a D3 crew. It's going to be me, Archon, Flux from Diablo Inc. Gamers, forum poster and streamer Mr. Monstrous, and Diablo game designers Travis Day and John Yang. That's right, we're firing up the stream with that lineup. And the purpose of this is the final chapter in the Build a Legendary community outreach that the D3 team has done. The basics of it are this, okay? They reached out to the community over the past few weeks. They said, we want you guys to design a legendary, all right? What do you want? You want a staff, a sword, a mace? What do you want? Tell us. And they had about 30,000 people respond, and they voted, and it came to be that it's going to be a one-handed sword. So then the D3 team says, what kind of a feel should it have? And they listed out all sorts of different characters from Diablo and describing their background briefly. So the reader got like a really good feel of what the one-handed sword would kind of look like. It was decided that Mephisto was the boss that this legendary would be based around. Now, he's a boss in Diablo 2. He's really like skeleton oriented and he's got big horns and he looks really sweet. Well, the final chapter, ladies and gentlemen, is here. What powers is this legendary going to have? So the Diablo team approached us, and we put together this killer lineup of fan site leads and Diablo developers to discuss and brainstorm the powers that this legendary sword will have and will then be implemented in Reaper of Souls. So be sure to follow twitch.tv/TwizzCast, and we'll have more on that. You'll be able to check the Diablo 3 website tomorrow. But yeah, the Twitch channel is going to be a live stream. It's next Wednesday night at 7 o'clock Central Standard Time. We're going to have an hour and a half long with these guys. So that's something you're not going to miss. Pretty exciting, huh?
Do you think they would blacklist us if we said it should have lifesteal? After they're already getting rid of lifesteal.
Oh. Yes.
I don't know. It came to mind. And when you were saying how it should feel, I was thinking it should feel slightly heavy, but big enough or light enough that you can swing it in one hand, and maybe metal. Should feel metal. I don't know. These are just thoughts.
What is happening right now?
Yeah, I have all the ideas.
Oh gosh. Well,
why isn't Reb on with you guys? I just want to know.
I know.
Metal. I didn't think of that one.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Like seriously, I'm scared to death of what Skype is going to do, having 37 people on this call and streaming it and everything. Like I've got like bamboo sticks and spider webs for internet connection here, and it's like, oh my god, it's like, yeah, I'm not gonna make jokes I shouldn't make, but I think we all get the idea here. So, anyways, the D3 thing. If you guys have an idea as far as like legendary powers, if you're a big D3 player and you send me an email, podcast@blizzpro.com. I'm more than happy to bring it up. This is a big brainstorming session with the developers, and they want the community to build this and vote on it and put it all together. And so they want to hear your voice. I want to hear your voice. So hit it, podcast@blizzpro.com. It's going to be, me and Archon and Flux and Mr. Monstrous, Travis, John. Great times. So anyways, back to Hearthstone that I was doing this week. I got a Killer Priest deck from Kilroy. He is also a guildie. He's also the co-host of Epic Questions podcast. Great guy. I played about 8 matches and lost 2. So that's a pretty good ratio. It's got great survivability, and it gets me to turn 8, where I can play Ragnaros, and turn 9, where I can play Ysera. I love that combo.
That's such a mean combo.
It is. It is.
I would be so mad if I saw that.
I know. Well, you know what? I mean, it is what it is. Basically, with those 2 cards, if you're watching, you've got your staple cards that are that will just ruin those. It'll ruin Ragnaros and Ysera. You've got your hexes.
True.
You've got your polymorphs. Everything. Your kill cards. Everything. And if you can watch them, and get them to use those cards early enough in the game, all they need to do is use one. If they use one, you'll be able to either pull off a Rags or a Ysera and not get it taken away unless they have something else really crazy. I mean, they can take it away. It depends on what they have in their hand, but they're probably not going to one-shot it. So it's a killer combo, and I live for it. I love it. So I found out I'm a little bit bummed. Mind Control is going from an 8 cost card to a 10 cost.
Oh, thank God.
I mean,
the most powerful card in the game, non-legendary at least.
Well, it depends on which side. Depends on which side of the fence you're playing on, all right? Because if you play a priest, if you're playing a priest deck, like that sucks.
Then you're a douche canoe. If you're playing a priest deck, then you're a douche canoe. Let's just call it like it is.
All right, she dropped the DC bomb.
Oh man!
But if you are playing against it, if you're playing against a priest deck, and I mean that Mind Control, it basically takes any card it takes your opponent's card, and you now own that card. So if I play Ragnaros and you Mind Control Ragnaros, you are now playing Ragnaros. So getting that from an 8 cost to a 10 cost. Ragnaros and Ysera are 8 and 9 costs, so by turn 8 and turn 9, you can get both of those on the floor, do as much damage as you possibly can with them, because you bet your butt that when turn 10 rolls around, it's going to be one of them things where they're gonna take one of the 2 of them. So it's hands down, it is what it is. So
yeah, it's like having a kill card and a copy minion card, but you only have to play 1 card.
Right.
It's crazy powerful.
It's stupid. So
it's worth 10 mana.
Yeah. See, now a fix for me, I would think, is why don't they change it to like keep it at an 8 cost, but you only can Mind Control a card that has 4 or less attack power, or something like that. Yeah, I mean that's fair well. Because you can use it anytime in the game. It's not too overpowered. I mean, and you're still implementing. You're mind controlling another card. It just puts a limitation on it. So I don't know. Food for thought. I'm just throwing that out there for what it is. So, in WoW though, I did get my priest to level 90, and I went from a 423 eye level to a 501 in about an hour and a half.
Woo!
Yeah. Thank you, Timeless Isle.
For you.
Right. Thank you, Timeless Isle.
Not a large applause, but golf clap for you.
Right. Well,
yep.
It is what it is. So I'm making them disc, and I'm anxious to learn more about disc. I miss the days where if you were a disc priest, you were a tank healer. You were bubbling, you were renewing, you were penancing, and I mean, you were a tank healer. You and a pally were tank healers. And you let the shaman, the druids, and whoever else had some band-aids do the raid healing. And I miss those days because it's not really like that anymore. And there's a lot of smart heals and DPS based healing, and it's weird. It's intriguing to me. I don't want to write it off, which is why I'm making him disc first before I go to holy, if I do. So I just got to learn more about it. But I mean, he's been 90 for like 2 hours, so whatever. I haven't dumped much into learning him. But also for those of you who are interested or just tuning in, BlizzPro.tv is in full swing. The Spotlight is on Sunday nights at 8 o'clock Central Standard Time, and The Edge is on Tuesday nights at 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. They're both knocking it out of the park. I'm so ridiculously impressed with the great job that these guys are doing. It's absolutely insane. So pay attention to the BlizzPro Twitter or the TwizzCast Twitter, or you can follow each of the shows has their own Twitter account. And we'll be tweeting it out, and really check these guys out. If you got nothing going on, tune in and check them out. They're doing awesome things. So, speaking of which, our third show, Raid Mechanics, we lost one of the hosts to real life. It happens. His work schedule changed. He works for Apple, so it's like, he got his hours completely changed. His job title changed. Everything changed, and he was like, dudes, I don't know what to do. I could maybe do the podcast at like 1 a.m. And it's like, well, I don't think that's going to work because there's probably nobody at 1 a.m. that's going to watch the show. So, I mean, what it is. So if you are interested and you're listening to this and you're in the sound of my voice, you guys were expecting me to say take care, weren't you?
Just
yeah.
end the stream. We're done.
Still.
We are looking for a raider, preferably heroic, but it doesn't have to be that way. But you need to know what's going on. Tank, preferably. So yeah, send me an email, podcast@blizzpro.com, if it's something that you could, something that you're interested in, and we can chat further from there. So, but yeah, I'm anxious to get that one back up and running again. So,
You mentioned BlizzPro.tv, and I totally forgot to mention that me and Nineball will probably have a show coming up pretty soon.
I was going to pimp you on that.
Oh, yes.
Talk to me about this. What is this?
Your pimping.
It's okay. No, what is this? Talk to me.
Yeah, me and Nineball, with the help of all the BlizzPro people, are starting a show called West March Workshop, where we're going to show you guys a new build from Reaper of Souls every week. And I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We're just going to go over all the skills for that build, the runes, legendaries that help the build, legendaries that you need for the build, different variations, things that it goes well with. And I think it's a good time to get it started out because we got a few months to find some awesome builds before the game comes out. So hopefully you guys can get prepared.
Yeah.
And I think we're shooting for Monday for our first show, but I'm not 100% sure if that's in stone or not.
Okay. We'll find out. Just pay attention to the Twitter feeds. So, and if you want to learn a little bit more about Nineball, we did he was with me on the Book of Tyrael interview that I did with Mickey Nielsen, and he did a phenomenal job. It was really, really good. So that's on the BlizzPro YouTube channel. You can scoop that up if you're interested. So like I said, I've mentioned this a couple of times. We are adding something to the show from now on. So for a long time, we have been strictly news. Speculation and opinions, but now we're going to add a little something to help you out in game. Now, because I mentioned earlier about all of us having our own select games to exclusively be in, we're going to bring you some tips on those games and try and help you be a better player or have a little bit more fun in game. So let's start off with Archon. Archon, what kind of a tip do you have, man?
Well, Twizz, we talked about it before the show, and this is actually the real spot where I think I would need those slides. Okay. I don't know if you have the slides ready or not.
I do.
If you're able to show them.
I am.
Awesome. Okay, so Twizz has a D3 skills slide, and I figure I'd give you a sneak preview of what we might be showing on West March Workshop, and that's a build. In Reaper of Souls, we have some awesome new synergy between skills. I think it's my favorite part of the beta, and it's enabled some really awesome builds. A lot of people were upset that their favorite builds are getting taken away, but I think now people seeing these new awesome builds and all the synergy they've added, it feels really cool. And all those D2 elitists probably like it too. So this build has all kinds of synergies, and I'll go through them. We have Electrocute with Surge of Power and Meteor with Comet. You'll notice as I go through it, it's all a Frost build. And you can do that now. You can be like Frost build or Fire build. Wizards, I think, have more synergy than anyone, but I'm sure a lot of stuff's going to get added. So Electrocute with Surge of Power gives you Arcane Power back, which allows you to cast more Meteors and Reaper Souls. You can just hold down Meteor, and if you can't cast it, it'll automatically default to your primary skill. Hydra with Frost Hydra, just for extra damage. Black Hole, that's a new skill for Wizards that sucks everyone in. Absolute Zero makes it cold-based, and it makes your next cold spell do more damage based on how many minions get sucked in. So your next Meteor could do like 150% extra damage if you suck in enough minions. Teleport with Fracture, just for some defense. Ice Armor with Chilling Aura. I'll explain why I have that in a second. The passives are Prodigy to get more arcane power back so you can cast even more meteors. Dominance gives you shields, that's just for defense. Cold-Blooded makes all your frost skills deal more damage, so awesome for a frost build. And then Paralysis makes it so lightning skills have a chance to stun. So you get a lot of stuns and a lot of chills, and there's a few legendaries, I think Twiz has a D3 legendary slide, that make this build just amazing. So the first one is Frostburn Gauntlets. And Frostburn Gauntlets give your chill effects a 50% chance to freeze instead of slow, which is super OP. It's not actually quite 50% because it does have to go through your proc coefficient. But that's why I have like Ice Armor and all those chill effects on there. You're freezing like crazy. And then Meekin's Ball of Hate makes it so Electrocute can chain to enemies that have already been hit. So you're hitting enemies like crazy with lightning and with chill, and you can stun lock most of the time. I actually think this build is a little OP, and as a good beta tester, I have to say it probably needs a little bit of a nerf. But it's really fun to play. It has a lot in common with the Critical Mass build, but it's not quite as face roll. It's not just standing there and smashing buttons. You actually have to pay attention to your surroundings. You can't get 100% stun lock off, but it looks awesome. You can cast meteors like crazy, and this is just like one of dozens of builds that people have found in Reaper of Souls so far. They're still adding more. I'm so excited about these synergies. You guys should keep a lookout on the legendaries and passives they're adding, because I think it's going to be really cool. Right. And that's my pro tip of the week.
Good game, dude. Good form. Good form for Archon. All right. Well,
that was almost too pro.
That was pretty elite. I kind of want to hear it again. So
yeah.
Okay, from the beginning.
All right. Well, let's move on to the World of Warcraft side of the house with Reb and Hoda. Reb, what do you have for us this week, dear?
Okay, so it's no secret I like the gold, and I love playing the auction house. Now, I hope to bring y'all a few tips here and there on how you can maximize your gold and how you can kind of get started with the AH and what kind of patterns to look for. But something that is kind of unique and special that's coming up in about a week and a half or so is Winter's Veil. And there's something pretty unique with the AH that you can get a little bit of gold on the side with. And I just want to tell you a few things to be looking out for so that you can be ready, because you have a week and a half to get ready. So if you have like 5 minutes, let me tell you what to farm. So basically what's going to be in high demand on the auction house is the mats for winter's boots, green winter clothes, red winter clothes, and then gloves of the Great Father. But also people will want to be crafting Wintervale eggnog and also gingerbread cookies. And so you can either sell those particular items on the AH, or you can actually take the particular mats and put them up so people can craft it themselves. It would take a little bit longer to get all of the materials together to actually craft the items. But, whatever tickles your fancy. So as far as the clothing that people are going to be desiring, as far as the winter boots, the most popular thing that they're going to be wanting out of that is actually rugged leather. So if you have a skinner, or if you have a tune with skinning, you might want to go out and get you some rugged leather here and there while you have a moment to do so. Also, with the green winter clothes and the red winter clothes, rune cloth bolts are going to be in high demand, and there's about 4 of them for each pattern, so those are going to be selling like hotcakes. Also, the green and red dye that are used in the recipes, some people don't know where to go for the dyes, and so they're kind of lazy and don't want to actually figure it out, feel free to like throw up like one or two to kind of test your server to see if they're being ignoramuses and not going to get it themselves. And you can maybe make a gold or two off of their misfortune of not wanting to figure out where to go. So that's pretty cool.
So like the rugged leather and rune cloth, those are like vanilla mats, aren't they? So it's pretty...
Yeah. Rune cloth, actually, it drops pretty well in Blackrock Spire, I want to say. You can get a ton from going through there, and it's a pretty big dungeon, so
right on.
It's a lot of drops. Also, as far as like the gloves of the Great Father, there's heavy leather, which is going to be in high demand, but also there's these elemental earths, and you use 4 of them for the recipe. And you can actually farm elemental earths from molten core. So if you have like a level 90, you can go in there and just wipe everything up. You can get reputation in addition to these mats. So it's kind of like a win-win. For every boss that you kill in there, you get, the Hydraxian Warlords. You get some rep with them, so that's kind of an incentive as well. And so as far as like the cooking mats, let me tell you what everyone's going to be searching for is milk, glass of milk, and small egg. As far as like glass of milk, once again, some people are going to be ignoramuses and they're not going to go to like a bartender and get it. Throw up like 1 or 2 and test and see if your server's big enough to have that pool of ignoramuses who aren't going to go
I just like
it.
that word, ignoramuses.
And as far as the small eggs are going to be selling like hotcakes for the first few days. Let me tell you where to get them. If you're a hoardie, just go to right outside of Silver Moon City, right outside of the gates. There's these little dragon hawks flying around. It said it was a 99% drop, but I think I've had a 100% drop rate on these eggs from these dragon hawks. And sometimes they'll actually drop 2, so that's pretty handy. Now, keep in mind that with any pattern, as far as like seasonal mats that are in demand, you're going to notice like the first 2-3 days, everything's going to be selling pretty well. About the 4th or the 5th day, people are going to finally catch on. Demand's not going to be in such high demand, or demand's not going to be so high. And a lot of people have already gotten their achievements where they actually need these items. So the sales are going to go down, the prices might go down, and the market might be flooded at this point. So I would say, once again, you have a week and a half to get ready. Go ahead and start farming those small eggs. Go ahead and start farming in that molten core for those elemental earths. And if you have a skinner, go ahead and get that rugged leather and that heavy leather. And then if you have a tailor, do those bolts of rune cloth. And if you want to trick the ignoramuses, get the milk and get the red and green dye. And then
I'll tell you what, between Firecrotch, Douche Canoe, and Ignoramus, you are like just rocking the vocab tonight. You are just out of the park.
Twiz. That's why they call me Webster.
It's more like Urban Dictionary for rap.
Urban Dictionary, yeah. But yeah, with those few tips, in the first few days, you're going to clean house. And it doesn't take long. Like if you have 5 minutes or so, maybe you're waiting on a queue, maybe you aren't sure what to do, you only have 5 minutes and you have to head out to work or something, go ahead and just farm some mats really quick and then throw them up at like midnight the day of, and you're going to be cleaning house, bro.
Okay, 30 Rock in the chat room just came up with this week's show title, Rebster's Dictionary.
I love it.
Done. Done.
Very nice.
I love it, Wingman. It's nice. But yeah, that's my little pro tip for getting you some gold. I hope to have some more ways to get you gold in the future, but start with that and let me know how you do.
Oh, nice. Now, let me set you up with a little situation before I give you a pro tip. Say you have an alt and you just got it to 90. You're like, oh, I need to gear it up because I really want to go through all the LFRs and just, get some good gear for him. And you hear these stories of these bad players with high levels, like a level 90 priest that went from item level 423 to 501.
I know that guy.
In an hour and a half.
I know him.
You hear these stories as a person with your alt. So how does he get there, right? Now, I think we all know by now we go to the Timeless Isle and you get the 496 and it just rains on top of you, right? But how do you get the Burden of Eternities without an hassle? Now, here's a pro tip to get one Burden of Eternity, which, if people don't know by now, it's to turn your 496 gear into a 535, which is huge. That's great. So this is a pro tip to how to get one every week, guaranteed. You won't have any RNG out there farming, so you can do this and gear up slowly if you want. Now, first, you're running around the Timeless Isle. You know where all the Celestials all are in that big like square. You want to find, I don't remember the NPC name.
He's in the southeast corner of the arena.
He's a little panda boy, panda cub, more like it. And you buy one of those flying kites from him, and I believe it costs 1,000 timeless coins.
Yep.
Is that what they are? Yes,
yep.
Perfect.
He's the only guy on the whole island that sells a kite in the southeast corner of the arena thing. So
you know what? That's whatever. Okay. Okay, so get it for him, and you get 5 charges with it. Now, what you want? Now, the point of this to get the kite is if you're kind of a, not as pro as Reb and have a legendary cloak, you need to get to Ordos's like main platform, and you can't get up there unless you have a legendary cloak. Or can you? This is a way to get up there without having one, such as me. So you're gonna go to the northwest top of the island. It's like kind of by the flame guys and like the water elementals you fight. So you go out there, you swim in the ocean, and you're swimming like way off the map. So you get fatigued, right? You'll see it and kind of panic. Just keep going a little ways, and then you'll see one thing you can do is you can mount, but you can mount with your flying mount, which you're like, what? You can't mount with your flying mount on the Timeless Isle, But you can. This is the trick. So you're like halfway fatigued. You hit your fly mount button. You go way up top. And when you're doing dismount, click your little glider, and you can just glide right over to Ordos's little like sanctuary, which is really nice. Now you can kind of circle around because you can, steer it a little bit as you go down, and you'll see a chest, and it's like right in the middle of like a big pack, and there's 2 fire elementals on each side. Now if you land like directly in the center of them, you won't even pull them. You just land, collect your loots, boom, free Burden of Eternity. So that's a great way to gear up like those noob level 90 priests you hear about.
There's a couple of different ways to get over there. The chat room's talking about the albatross that you can get on. Stuff like that.
I found this the easiest way, but there are plenty of ways to get up there.
The way that I did it, and a guildie showed me it this week. It's the easiest, or it's not the easiest. It's one of the ways, but it's the most expensive way. Is when you're standing on the bridge, right in between that space, there is a wooden post on your left-hand side that kind of comes to a point. You climb up there, you jump, and then as soon as you jump, you use the glider and coast across. Now, what you need to do is use all of your movement speed increasing effects to get around the left-hand side of the wall and into the side doors. What you're going to do is you're going to get killed a lot. And then you don't res at the graveyard. You res at your body and run more. And you basically are dying your way inside to get to that chest. So it's the same type of situation. Yours sounds a little bit easier.
Mine sounds a little more pro. I'm just saying because you're not dying.
Not as much death. It's cool.
Hey, it's the same payoff in the end. Same payoff.
I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. Well, all right. Good pro tip. I will give you my pro tip. So, I think what I'm going to be doing for my pro tips, I'm going to be giving you Hearthstone killer combos. And I know Zen Style and Bliss Pro are both in the chat room, and they're going to be like, "OMG, Twiz, what are you doing? Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god." But I think this is, like I said, this is going to be the standard thing that I do every week. I'm going to give you guys a few cards that make great combos and try to work them into your deck and let you know exactly when to play them. This week, I'm going to give you guys what's called the Light Spawn combo. So I'm going to throw up some cards here. Now, everyone, really quick, there's a few things that I can't stress enough about this combo. First off, it likely won't work in arena play, okay? But you might be able to pull it off in normal play mode. Second, you're basically one silence away from this not working. Okay, but the biggest thing about Hearthstone is that sometimes you get the cards you need and sometimes you don't. So if your opponent can't do anything with your Light Spawn when you play it, you're set up. It's not guaranteed that they have a silence in their hand to handle it. So let's talk a little bit about the strategy. The Light Spawn is a 4-cost with 0 attack and 5 health. The flavor text says that this minion's attack is always equal to his health. So as soon as you play him, he becomes a 5/5 right off the bat. Okay, now you're going to play him on turn 4. All you have to do is live through turn 4. If you can get him to live through turn 4, you're going to be doing pretty good because usually a turn 4 with 5 health, it's a crapshoot depending on what your opponent's playing and how the game has been up till then, if they're going to have any way to handle it. So a good strategy might be to try and keep all the minions clear to at least get you to turn 4. If you can keep their minions off the board up till turn 4, you're going to be in good shape because they won't have anything to come after this light spawn with when you drop them. So it's kind of a risky maneuver. So let's assume that you make it through turn 4. Turn 5 rolls around, okay? So here's what I recommend. Even if they did do some damage, you can use Circle of Healing, which is a 0-cost card that restores 4 health to all minions. So you can use that, but here's what I'd recommend you use first. Divine Spirit. Double the minion's health. Now, because the light spawn's attack is always equal to his health, if you double that minion's health, now you've got a 10-10 on turn 4, or actually on turn 5. Which is pretty ridiculous. And then you can also play, because you've got 5 mana crystals to deal with on turn 5, you use 2 of them with Divine Spirit, 1 of them with Power Word Shield, which gives your minion 12 health, and you draw a card. So now you've buffed him up to a 12-12 on turn 5.
If you played Power Word Shield first, would it become a 14-14?
Yes, it would. Yeah, that is a good point. Yeah, that's
so
a good
everything
point.
you said, reverse it.
No, you know what? And that's the thing.
Just those 2 cards.
Yeah, just those 2 cards. You know what? Actually, that's because I was thinking to myself, I've got him to be a 14-14 before, and I was like, how did I do that? And when I was putting the cards on this layout, I threw them. I was really excited to get Divine Spirit up there to show that, you know, it's most effective when you double the minion's health. So, but yeah, that is a perfect strategy. So you've got your 5/5. You use Power Word Shield on him. That gives him +2 health, and you draw a card. So now you're at a 7/7, and then you double the minion's health and make him a 14/14 on turn 5. That's pretty devastating right there. Now again, guys, I cannot stress to you enough. You are 1 silence away from this not happening. All right, if they silence your light spawn, then you have 0/5. Now, you can use Inner Fire, which makes your minion's health, or his attack power, equal to his health, and at least get a 5/5 out of it, if you choose to run that. But that's kind of a way out of the silence, but, I mean, you know, whatever. But that's what I've been working with a little bit. Like I said, I wouldn't try it in Arena. They're going to be too smart for that. Your opponent may have the silence to deal with it. They may not. Now, usually, if I'm going to try and run this combo, I'm going to have 2 light spawns. I'm going to have 2 Power Word Shields. I'm going to have 2 Divine Spirits, and I'm going to do everything I possibly can to heal that guy back up. Because even at let's say he's at 10-10 or whatever, because you didn't get the Power Word Shield, and the guy lops off 4 health off your light spawn. You still got your hero power, Lesser Heal, that you can heal him back up, and then keeping cards in your deck, like I said, like Circle of Healing, that restores 4 health to all minions. You can boost him right back up to his max potential. So
now I have a question for you,
Yeah.
Twiz. Can this guy also be used as almost a decoy? Because he is in your priest deck, I'm seeing. So are you waiting for your turn 8 and 9 for Ragnaros? And who's the other one?
Ysera?
Ysera. Can he be used as that also?
Could.
Since you're buffing up and then
Yep.
wait for
It's
those turns?
The old bait and switch, man. Yeah. Yeah.
Boom!
You know what? That's a great
I
way
like
to fish
it.
silences out there. And of course, you know what? Battle Panda's in here. Silent Sheep, Hex, Execute. I think that's what he's... Like I said, you are pretty much 1 silence away from this not happening. This is not a foolproof thing, but if your opponent doesn't have the cards, you can walk 14 damage on turn 5. That is the point of this combo. So take it for what it's worth. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, you really only need to hit with it once for it to be worth it.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, everybody. Well, that is going to take us to our very first break. So, let's see here. Did I miss anything? Yeah, I don't think I did. So
Yeah, we're good.
we're good. Screw it. We'll catch up to it later. So we're going to take our first break. We'll be back in about 45 seconds to talk about all the latest news in gaming from Blizzard right after a quick commercial. So tell a friend, tweet a friend, and Facebook a friend to let them know that you are tuned in to episode 75 of TwizzCast. Today, we salute you, Mr. 3 frames per second man. Mr. 3 frames per second man! You dare dream of a world where the fire animation is something you can easily walk out of. Get out of the fire! You boldly embark on quests that take 4 times as long. I don't know if I'm still in combat! And one day, you'll actually be able to see your bobber dip when you fish. I don't know if I should click now. And Moonguard will no longer kick you due to FPS problems. Mail not out looking for fun. So here's to you, Mr. Sultan of Suck. DoghouseSystems.com can build you a rig and put you back in the game with the rest of us. You deserve it. Your raid team and arena team deserve it. And so do the rest of us. Mr. 3 frames per second, man. Go to DoghouseSystems.com and use the coupon code TWIZ at checkout to double your memory. TwizzCast would also like to remind you to game responsibly.
This is Greg Street, a.k.a. Ghostcrawler, and you are listening to TwizzCast.
What do you think? I like turtles.
All right.
He's climbing in your windows. He's snatching your people up.
To me, it look like a leprechaun to me.
The news.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Okay, the Blizz Pro News is sponsored in part by AskMrRobot.com. If you want to push your character to his or her fullest potential, Ask Mr. Robot will make sure that your gear is set up to do that properly. Hello. So, as always, everybody... You're like, hello. 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 Oh, my God, bro. So, as always...
Oh, my God, bro. Hold up.
We are going to bring you up to speed on some of the articles that you may have missed on BlizzPro.com. We don't cover all the articles, or just the ones that we think are good. When it comes to any of the news that's breaking in the community, BlizzPro has an article on it as soon as it is released. So if you like what you are about to hear, make sure you head over to BlizzPro.com and check the vast amount of articles that we did not have time to cover on tonight's show. I have read that paragraph enough times that I pretty much have it memorized now.
Nice.
I feel good about that. I was able to look at the camera a lot for that. So, anyways.
Wait, you read some of the show?
Who would have thought, right?
Are there show notes?
There's show notes? I don't know.
My God, did Ghostcrawler leave Warcraft?
I thought we were all improvising this whole time.
Oh,
bringing up inside jokes from before the show. Yeah.
Right. All right. Well, hey, Blizzard hints at Diablo 2.0.1 PTR soon. Ladies and gentlemen, Nineball covered this on BlizzPro.com. He said Blizzard CM Grimiku hinted again that the Diablo 2.0.1 PTR will begin testing sometime in the near future. While we still don't have a firm date for the beginning of testing, I would imagine it should start up sometime within the next few weeks. This way, they can get the servers up and running before the holidays, when a large portion of the Blizzard staff traditional takes time off. To be clear, this isn't public Reaper of Souls testing. The 2.0.1 patch will include many of the features coming in Reaper of Souls, but will not include everything. So, Archon, what are some of the things that won't be coming to us in this PTR?
So basically, this is just like any other public test realm. You're not going to be able to test anything that you would get from buying the expansion. Playing the PTR will be like playing vanilla Diablo after Reaper of Souls has released. So they've kind of already told us what we're getting for buying the expansion and what everyone will get. So you're not going to be able to play the Crusader. It's only for people who buy the expansion, so it won't be in the PTR. No Act 5. You're still going to be level 60. You can't use the Mystic to do your enchanting. We will get Paragon 2.0. All the itemization changes will be there. You'll get brand new legendaries. You won't get the Reaper of Souls legendaries. I assume that means you won't be able to play on Torment. Right now you have to be level 70 to play Torment, and that also blocks certain legendaries, because certain legendaries only drop on Torment. My thinking is that they did that so that only people who bought the expansion could have those legendaries.
Sure.
But itemization will be there, so the itemization will be much better than it is in vanilla Diablo. All the legendaries will be new. The low-level legendaries can roll at higher levels. You're just not getting all the Reaper Soul stuff. The skill changes will be there. You're not going to get the new skills, because those all come after level 60. Again, you have to have the expansion to get that, but the changes to current skills, the changes to lifesteal, I imagine, will be there, which means it's pretty much useless, which is a good thing. I hope people realize that. It's a good thing.
I saw how quickly you jumped upon that.
Yeah, a lot of people are upset about lifesteal, but I think when you get in there, you realize, oh wait, this opens up a lot of new builds that aren't me just trying to get in the middle of a bunch of mobs and spam my buttons over and over again. And Paragon 2.0 will be there too, so you'll be able to spend your Paragon points how you want to. Now, I assume that adventure mode, which includes bounties and Nephilim rifts, is going to be in there as well. They've pretty much said that's going to be in the patch. You won't have to buy the expansion for that, but they haven't confirmed it. So I can't say for sure. But I'm pretty sure that's going to be in there as well. It's just going to be playing the game as if Reaper of Souls was out, but you didn't buy it.
It's not really surprising because World of Warcraft does that similar with their new expansions. They implement all the new systems and everything, but if you don't have the new expansion, you just can't continue on. So it's very similar to that, I would say.
Quit comparing the two games, Hoda. They're not even close.
My bad.
It's like World of Warcraft. No, yeah, a lot of people get really upset if anything in Diablo even resembles something from World of Warcraft.
Really? Because World of Warcraft's looking more and more like Diablo.
Thank you.
So
Lifesteal.
It is.
RNG stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I like both games, so I like when they take ideas from each other. I think most of the time it works, but Blasphemy was what a lot of people would shout at me at that point. I'm surprised the PTR is coming out so soon. They said the auction house is closing March 18th.
Mm-hmm.
March 18th, and so obviously the expansion is not going to come out before then. I mean, at least it seems really unlikely.
No way.
I would be surprised if the pre-expansion patch came out before then, because you'd have Loot 2.0 and the auction house, which seems really weird. So for the PTR to come out, from what Grimmaku was saying, and from what one of the tech people on the forums was saying, it might come out sometime this month. I would guess that it's going to come out sometime this month if I had to guess.
No, I don't think so, and I'll tell you why.
You don't think this month?
No, I don't think this month. Because if you look at it, right now we're at the 5th, which means if it doesn't come out Wednesday, next week would be the 12th, it would have to come out. Do you think it would come out in the next 2 weeks? Because if not, now you're battling Christmas and New Year's and time off and vacation and everything like that. They're not gonna open the doors up. They're not gonna open up the floodgates in the middle of all the holidays.
That's a good point. That's
what you get for trumping on my Hearthstone.
I still think it's going to come out in September.
Yeah, now it's all games versus each other. Thanks, Arton.
That's not. I'm just the messenger.
Picking fights.
Just
Everybody think for yourself.
I like all the games. I wish I could play some more WoW. No, you make a good point, Twiz, but you haven't convinced me. I still think it's going to be December. The tech person actually said on the forums that it is coming out in December, and I think they weren't supposed to say that.
Ooh.
But so one of two things: either they said it and they weren't supposed to, or they said it and they didn't know what they were talking about. If it doesn't come out in December, I think very early January. But either way, if we saw Reaper Souls come out mid-April, which I think is the soonest we'd see it, then we're looking at the expansion or the PTR coming out 3 or 4 months before the actual expansion, which is really early for a PTR. But I think it's a good sign, too. I think a lot of people would agree the biggest mistake, in my opinion, that the D3 team made with the original Diablo is they didn't have a full beta test. They only did one to level 1 to level 13. They figured they'd be able to figure out all the bugs without people playing through the whole thing, and they were definitely wrong. I think they would have found a lot of the things wrong with the game if they'd had a full beta, and so thank God they're not only doing a full beta, but a very long beta, and it looks like a very long PTR testing. And I think that's just one more sign that Reaper of Souls is going to be amazing.
Okay. You sound confident.
Yes.
You fill me with confidence.
Ever since I was able to talk with the developers and realize they understand the same problems that the players understand, and Blasphemy again, they understand them better than the players do. Which shouldn't be too surprising. It is their job to understand the game better than the players.
Guys, all I heard was his game's better than ours, so it's all good.
Blah, 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 crap on Hearthstone, blah, 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 blah,
blah. Yeah, that's about it for PTR. I'm excited to see what comes of it.
Cool. Good deal. Well, let's change a little bit of direction again, and I want to turn this over to my WoW people. It's so weird to say that, but it appears that along with the item squish that we saw a little bit during the Warlords of Draenor testing at BlizzCon. They're doing some serious revamping of the gear stats. So, Reb, Hoda, what is going on with the gear stats and everything like that? There was a big blue post from community manager Christo that was pretty interesting. What's happening?
Everybody buckle your seatbelts because things are turning upside down. It's a lot of crazy.
Cray.
It's cray. It makes sense, but it's just cray to like think that this huge change. Hoda, do you mind if I talk about primary stats?
No, go ahead. Absolutely.
Okay, so I'm basically just going to talk about like your armor pieces, which is your head, your shoulders, chest, legs, gloves, belt, boots, bracers, those kind of things. And as far as like primary stats, basically, if you're going to be in a raid and say like a chest piece drops, it's going to be, let's say for instance, it's plate, and it's not going to have any primary stats. So you can have like your Holy Paladin wanting it, and you can have your Blood DK both wanting it, because once they are given that particular item, it's going the primary stat on it. So as far as like your intellect, your agility, your strength, that's going to change depending on what spec you're actually in. So if you give that piece to your Holy Paladin, his or her primary stat is going to be intellect. If you give it to your Blood DK, they're now going to get strength. So it's really cool, and it kind of did this so there wasn't so many pieces that were being disenchanted. Like, say, for instance, you didn't have a Holy Paladin, and all that you kept getting off of this one boss was just some intellect plate. And you're like, who the crap is going to use this? Like, we don't have anybody with an off-spec who can heal who is a plate wearer. So it's basically kind of changing that up. As far as like secondary stats, did you want to hit on that, Hoda?
Yeah, absolutely. People know secondary stats as like your crit, your mastery, and your hit expertise, which is gone now. All that's gone. So basically, what these are, and I just read a blue post. It might have came out a few days ago. Somebody asked if secondary stats are going to be static, or they're going to be RNG based, kind of like, in Diablo, where, it's different things. And they did say the secondary stats are still going to be static, meaning they're not going to like change. They'll be predetermined on gear, so you can still look at like your Atlas loot, if you have something like that, and see like if something's crit mastery for a specific piece of gear you want. Now, what's interesting about this, because your primary stats, as Reb was saying, they switch on your specs. The secondary stats are even more important, because if you're like a min-maxer and say you're a warrior, as of right now in a Mist of Pandaria, you want crit is pretty much all you want. Mastery maybe a little bit, but haste is like really bad. So if you're looking for the pieces with crit, so if you go to like a prot stance, okay, let me explain this.
Let me back up.
If you DPS, you want the crit on the secondary stats, right? Say you switch to tanking spec, the crit is still good for tanking, but your primary stats switch with the gear as well. So it seems confusing, but if you read into it a little bit more, it's really not. So it just makes it so if you're switching between specs, like you can mix, you can still like. Because you need two sets of gear for your specs right now. You can still do that if you want to min-max, but if you're really not into that and you just want to play both specs, a lot of this doesn't matter with your secondary stats. Like, they won't be maybe ideal, but you can still get through the game without min-maxing. Now, along with crit mastery and haste, they talked about adding some more secondary stats as well. Did you guys see this at all, Reb?
Yeah, that was actually for the non-armor pieces I saw.
Oh, really?
Multi-strike sounded so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
this was what Archon said. 3 more stats is what they're kind of messing around with right now. It's called Amplify, Readiness, and Multi-Strike. Now you're like, what are those?
Multi-strike sounds like a cleave.
Yeah, well, sort of, but not. Amplify is like increases your other stats. So, like, it gives you, like, a bigger crit, I guess, because, if you get crit, you get more crit, but Amplify, exactly what it sounds like, it amplifies your spells.
Oh, well, I was just copying Diablo.
See, I told
I
you
know.
it's coming like Diablo.
I know.
Now, readiness is another stat, and it reduces all your cooldowns, which sounds pretty sweet. And that people have been kind of throwing around, like this might be like a tank stat, get rid of like your big cooldowns so you can like take those hits some more.
Or it's a copy of combat readiness that rogues had.
That's what I was just gonna say.
Saying.
I was just gonna say, Reb doesn't rogues have that? Yeah.
No, the funny thing is,
Warlords of Draenor, everybody, everyone is a rogue. They're getting rid of everything. You're a rogue, everyone's a rogue.
Just give everybody sprint and just call it a day.
It's funny, these new secondary stats they're introducing are like trinket procs for classes that you have right now. So they're kind of introducing it, like that's where they're coming from, which is really weird because I know like what is it? The readiness is like a agility trinket, like proc, and amplifies another one for like the spellcaster, which is really weird. Anyways, the last one they're talking about is a multi-strike. Now it clones another attack for 30% more damage. So it's almost like a copy of a spell, but it does 30% of that damage. And
I'm cool
yeah.
with it. But they also are getting rid of some stuff. So now that they've added readiness, amplify, and multi-strike, once again, you're going to have haste, you're going to have crit, you're going to have mastery, but you're no going to longer have hit, expertise, dodge, or parry. Because, I mean, that would kind of stink if, like, say, for instance, a plate, I hate to keep going back to plate, but, like, a plate chest dropped and it had dodge on it. You're like, well, obviously that's going to a tank. Instead of saying, like, oh, okay, this is plate, who do we give it to? It would then, like, have to go to somebody. Also, on those particular, like, head, shoulders, chest, all of those pieces that we mentioned that are actually armor, those are no longer going to have spirit on there. Sorry.
Drama.
We'll get to spirit in just a second, but also they are not going to have bonus armor either. But like I said, we're going to get to that in just a moment when we go to the non-armor pieces, which are going to be like trinkets or so. So we've covered our primary stats, which are going to change based on your particular spec. You have those secondary stats, which aren't guaranteed to be anything in particular, and aren't necessarily guaranteed to be on a piece, but they'll stay the same no matter which spec you go into.
Yes,
And
those stay the same, right?
Yeah. But then there's also going to be tertiary stats. And you're like, oh my God.
What are those?
What's that? It's a third set of stats. And once again, these are going to be even more rare than having secondary stats on there. So you could, in reality, have a chess piece drop and it have nothing on that. And you can give it to somebody. You can have another chess piece drop and it may have some secondary stats that's crit, but also a tertiary stat. And these are going to include such items as movement speed. Thank you for taking our sprint away from the rogues. Everybody has movement speed now.
No.
Sturdiness, lifesteal. So they're basically taking it away from Diablo 3 and they're giving it to Warcraft.
You know what? All of this makes my butt itch. I am so lost. I don't even know. Well, why? I mean, I'm going to let you continue, and because this is good news and it's good to get out and everything.
Okay.
But I mean, but why?
It's a
right
lot.
now we have you know what? You're a warlock. You've got stam, int, and then you've got your pick of the litter, haste, crit, mastery, or whatever. You can reforge it if you want. Why is that system broken? If you want to do a number squish, the number squish works just fine, all the way down to 24 intellect on my back piece, at whatever.
Keep going. I'll argue with you in a second, Twiz. So yeah.
but I mean,
in addition to that, lifesteal. There's also like avoidance, which is less AOE damage. Feint, taking that away from rogues as well. Just saying.
A bit of a stretch there.
Cleave, taking that away from rogues and warriors. But rogues, still, I'm just saying, rogue is the perfect class, and you're just taking all these things that we specialize in and giving it to everybody. But who's complaining? Not me.
Yes. Now, 1 second, just to be clear, like all these tertiary stats you're saying, you can pretty much substitute the word bonus, right? Because it's like a bonus drop. It's like if you get like a Thunderforged or Warforged item, it doesn't add to the item level, but it just gives you that extra thing on top of the gear.
Right. It's kind of like rolling the dice. Let's say, for instance, we roll the dice and we get 50 gold. We could roll the dice next time we get 50 gold, 50 copper. and it's just kind of like the tertiary is like adding that little bit on top of it. Just saying, I'm a little bit of a gambler, and I like
See,
gold.
Arcana's that end game. You keep playing it, you might get better gear.
Yeah. Do you think that, I was thinking when you guys were reading this, maybe one of those reasons is so that people have a reason to keep doing those instances that they already have all the gear from. Yeah.
It really is, because people can get like their best item, but it may not have a tertiary stat, or I don't know, are we getting to this rail, but it may have a bonus socket as well, because sockets are pretty much gone. It's very rare now. And meta gems, which is awesome, by the way.
Okay.
Sorry, Joe Crafter, sorry.
Basically, there goes all of my gold. Well, items may have gem sockets. Like, it's not guaranteed. Just like it's not guaranteed to have like secondary stats on there or a tertiary stack or anything like that. So unlike gem sockets today, gem sockets in WoD, I love saying WoD, will be rarer but more powerful. There will be no socket bonuses, but they're strongly considering requiring the right color gem for the socket. All gems will grant secondary stats, including spirit and bonus armor. So that's when spirit first starts poking its head in the door. So you're not going to see spirit as like a secondary stat on any of your gear unless it's in a socket and it specifically specifies that. And then in our non-armor stuff that we're about to get to in just a second. So we've talked about our primary stats, which they change on your spec. Our secondary stats, which aren't guaranteed. Our tertiary, which is really cool stuff. They're stealing from rogues, just saying. Our
and
gems,
Diablo, I guess.
Our gems, which are going to be much, much more powerful, but they are probably going to require that specific color gem. Now, as far as like the non-armor pieces, I don't know if you want to go ahead and hit this one up, Hoda.
Yeah, absolutely. Non-armor pieces is like your neck trinkets, your jewelry, pretty much. They said
weapons, right?
No, actually, not your weapons.
Yeah.
Those
like
are
nothing's
going to
change with your weapons.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I'm
those
so
are gonna
lost
be, like,
right now.
Set in stone, like that. Yeah, that's like the only thing set in stone.
I don't know what's happening
jewelry
anymore.
will never. They said most likely will never have primary stats. That is like your int, agility, strength. But they said it may have attack power for, obviously, like your melee classes or hunters. But they will have secondary stats, and those are the things we were discussing, like mastery, haste. Those amplified, multi-strike, new things like that. So it's, very interesting. And it's more, I guess, more diverse. Like, people can, like...
More specialized what they're trying to do. Also, this is where spirit starts showing up on, like, your rings, your cloaks, necklace, trinkets. What? I was just lost my train of thought.
What I was going to say is included in, like, the jewelry and stuff. It's like... Yeah,
what I was going to say is spirit is now only useful for healers. So what was it? Who was it that got hit out of spirit? It was like some crazy class. Was it warlocks or something? I don't know. It was like some clothy who could use their excess spirit, which they didn't use.
It was warlock. There was a glyph that you used to have. It was the glyph of life tap that turned like 20% of your spirit or 20% of your spirit into raw spell power. What did I have for lunch yesterday? Couldn't tell you. What is that stupid glyph from before Cataclysm? I rattled it right off.
Come on, boom.
Well, daggum, there you go.
There you go.
But basically, with this new system, to get your absolute best in slot, as far as like what you're stacking and whatnot, it could take a little bit of luck and a little bit of grinding. But as far as like getting gear, it's not going to be difficult. That's the overall message. It's like getting a piece of gear. Not difficult, getting your best in slot. A little bit of luck, a little bit of grinding for it, a little bit of pain, sweat, tears, blood.
World of Diablo.
Say something else.
Yeah,
it wasn't
exactly. It's very similar. I told you. All right, Twiz, what's wrong now?
I might be taking Twizz's side here. I'm interested to hear what he says.
You know, I mean, it is what it is. It's okay. Ghostcrawler, when he worked for Blizzard, which he still does. We'll talk about that later. But he said that this game is evolutionary, not revolutionary. Okay, and I get that. The game is constantly changing. Okay, it's the only thing that is constant is change. And what I'm wondering is, at what point in time are they just going to say, you know what, this is our system. This is what we have. You know, we have been so accustomed from Wrath to Cataclysm to Mists of you have your gear. If you're a mage, your gear if it's cloth, if it doesn't have spirit on it, that's yours. Okay, and depending on what the secondary stats are, is this a good fit for you? You know, if it has crit or if it has haste or whatever. What was wrong with that? Why do we have to change everything? If you have to squish the numbers because everything's looking crazy, then okay, then that works. But now you're talking about adding, you know, butt lust power and you name it, you know, all sorts of crazy secondary stats with a new thing, and if you hold the thing with your hand in Orgrimmar and you slash dance, then you get a new stat that blah blah blah, and it's just so confusing. I'm not downplaying. I'm not saying it's not going to work, because they're going to test the snot out of it, and I'm sure once I see it, I'll be like, yeah, this makes sense.
Now, let me just throw something out there. For example,
no, I want to go.
Well, I was just going to reference. If you remember back to Wrath of the Lich King, it was kind of similar, and they changed it up. Remember, tanks used to have a defense cap. They used to have defense on gear, and they needed to get to a cap. Also, armor penetration. That was a little more complicated, and people didn't know what to do there. And I guess they dumbed down the game for the past 2 expansion. So it's a little similar, and you gotta look forward, man.
Well, you know what, though? I don't think that they dumbed down the game. Like, what they did was they took the defense cap.
That was people say, you know.
I know. Oh, I get. No, I totally get what you're saying. Mm-hmm. But, like, they took the defense cap, they built it in the talent tree, then they overhauled the talent tree system, and that's all gone now anyway, so whatever. But there was a lot of excess stats and stuff like that, but, like, right now, the stats that they have are useful. You know, the being hit capped. You know, I don't think between reforging and gemming and enchanting, it's impossible to be where you need to be. Obviously, it's not impossible to be where you need to be for all of your stats. Like I said, hit, expertise, dodge, block, parry, whatever it is that you need to gem, enchant, and everything for. It's not hard to get there. And if they want to get rid of some other things, then you know, I mean, like expertise, I can see maybe, because that's kind of a confusing stat. But
can I put in my 2 cents?
You may as well.
Okay, so the first time that I read through this, I was like, why on earth do we have this huge buttload of crap just going on? I was like, I just don't get it. And so I kept reading through, and then it finally struck me where this is going to help. Okay, so say we're in what's going to be heroic, just 25 man right now, but say it's heroic 25 man. And let's say we don't have as diverse of roles that we need. Say we have like one holy paladin, and he is the only int plate in the place, and we have like 5 or 6 other plate wearers who need some gear. Say we're going in and we had our old system, and we continuously get int plate bracers to drop, and we just cannot get strength plate bracers to drop for us. It's like every week we go in, we've already given that piece to our holy paladin. Nobody else is going to be using it. It keeps dropping every week. We're going to start disenchanting it every single week, and every single week those 5 or 6 other people who are waiting on those plate bracers that are strength, they're not going to get anything. So this is going to help in those instances where, I hate to keep picking on holy paladins, by the way. This is going to be a fix in those instances where it's going to help people get gear more quickly. And say, for instance, there's a fight where it's just kicking a raid team's butt, and they have, let's say, a Retribution Paladin, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm gung-ho about Retribution Paladin. I kind of know Holy. I'm willing to go Holy for this one fight to kind of help us out, because we're really struggling on heals for just this one. We're in progression. They're like, you know what, we're already like 4 weeks into progression. Do we really want to spend like another 4 to 6 weeks for me to get gear for my Holy set just so we can get this next boss? Instead, you're just going to be able to switch right over. You may not have the best in slot gear for you, but you have a good enough gear that's going to change instantly to your intellect that you need to heal a little bit and help out the team, and then actually go over that one milestone that you've been just stuck at. So in reality, I can see those 2 instances being a reason why the system is going to be appreciated. Maybe not needed, but it's going to be appreciated. And once it's in, and we have to stop DEing so much stuff where, say, once again, we may have a hunter in the group. We have no chamois in the group. We want agility male gear to drop, but we just keep getting intellect male gear to drop, and it's like, where does that end? Where can we finally get agility for our hunter? And it's like, that's going to end. We're just going to be able to give them all of the male that drops.
I see the beauty in what you're saying, but let me tell you where the flaw lies in this. Okay, the flaw lies when gear becomes easily attainable and you don't have enough people will burn through that content because they are getting drops that they need. And once you get the drop that you need from every boss, and every person on your raid team gets a drop that they can use, and they have an eye level that is good enough, that is the top of the top, they have no reason to go back into that content again, unless it's on an alt. But if they do that, what's the next place to do? What's the next stop in the strip mall? The forums.
That's the thing, Twiz. With the gear changes, they may have the best gear they got now, but if they go back again, they might get a gem slot. They might get a tertiary stat. They might get like one more, like the same item level, but just a little bit better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so it's basically like, oh, I'm sorry, Archon, but let me say this one point. It's basically like the people that will want to go back in there are the people that they're trying to cater to and actually have this in-game content for them. Those are the people who are going to be min-max players who are going to want to go in there and say, you know what? I need it to have exactly this tertiary and exactly this secondary, and that's exactly what I need for my best in slide.
Yeah. Well, it depends
but,
on what,
if you have somebody just going in there and getting whatevs, I mean, they're not a player that's going to fully appreciate in-game to its fullest potential. And I'm sorry, Archon, go ahead.
I agree, I guess, mostly with Reb and Hoda, and I see the good in the system. I think the new stats are a lot more fun than the old stats. I don't think stacking hit and stacking expertise is very fun. You do it because you have to do it. A lot of these new stats feel a lot more fun, and I'd like that less gear is getting disenchanted and that you can have one set of gear that you could use in multiple specs. I see all the good in it. The problem I have is similar to Twiz's problem. It's not so much that I think you won't have a reason to go back and do the instance. I see the reason to get the tertiary stats. My problem is with epic gear dropping so frequently, and maybe this is just me being a vanilla player and just being nostalgic. I don't know, but I remember when you got a piece of epic gear, it felt epic.
Sure.
You felt like a badass because you earned a piece, and you would show it off around town, and you would brag about it. And every expansion, I've just seen epic gear get less and less valuable, and now who cares?
Well, I'll tell you what. You want to see this community?
I'm gonna let you finish. I'm doing a Kanye, as in style is saying.
Wow.
But then again, when you were back then in vanilla, when you were getting epics and you felt epic, weren't you in a 40 man? And the reason you felt epic was because you beat 39 other people to get that piece of gear. I'm sure with 40 people, you had competition to actually try to roll on that. I'm sure you weren't the only holy paladin. I'm sure you weren't the only hunter or anything like that. Like you had competition. Somebody could have needed it. Like you weren't constantly going in and being like, oh crap, I have to disenchant because we have one person like this. No, you had competition. Competition's healthy.
I wouldn't say that was the reason it felt epic. I think vanilla was a little too hardcore. There's usually only a few guilds per server that can even do the majority of the content. But I would say the reason I felt badass back then is because I was in one of those guilds that could do the content, and you were like one of the elite top few percentage. TBC was a little bit better. It was still really hard to get the epics, but most guilds could at least get some epics. Maybe
is for the rating
if they
tier,
let
though.
legendaries take the place that epics used to hold, then I'd be okay with it.
Well, but this is for the rating tier, though, Archon. So, I mean, first off, Death Stance brought it up in the chat room. The game's changed. It's never going to go back to that. Sadly, it's a sad truth. It's the way of it. But what's the alternative to killing a raid boss and not getting an epic? I mean, you want to see this community and this entire world have a stage 9 nuclear meltdown. You go ahead and have blues drop off of raid bosses, and you will. I mean, you will. People.
That didn't happen in vanilla other than ZG.
What's that? Say again.
Epics always dropped off of raid bosses in vanilla.
No, I know. I'm saying, but like all of this gear that we're talking about is dropping off of raid bosses. So it's. I mean, I completely see what you're talking about as far as like, you know, you can't swing a dead cat without without getting an epic out of it. You know,
where do you guys come up with these sayings? I don't.
It's an Illinois thing, but
so basically, like, if you're doing flex, if you're doing normal, or actually flex, it's not even called flex anymore. If you're doing normal, heroic, or mythic rating, you're actually rating. Like, I think you deserve those epics. I think you deserve those purples. As far as like LFR, I don't think it deserves to be called epic. Like, yeah, you killed a pretty legendary member of the lore, but maybe if they made a new color, they had like Blurple, Glimmer, Rainbow.
Yeah.
Blurple, I like it.
Well, if they just in the original pamphlet for Vanilla Warcraft, they talk about legendary items and they also talk about artifacts, which are red, and they had a few of them. And I haven't played much in the last 2 expansions. Maybe they've added some, but I would be happy if they just fine. Everyone gets epics. Ratings easy. Everyone can get it. You can do hard mode if you want, but let legendaries take the place of old epics. Make legendary sets, full sets of legendary gear, but even getting one piece is really hard. You have to do the top content, and then replace legendaries with artifacts, where there's only a couple of them, and it's incredibly rare to even see someone with one of them.
So you mean like having, say, for instance, a mythic rating team, and like there's a 5% chance that a legendary will drop instead of an epic? Kind of like how they did with Thunderforged, kind of like Warforged.
I haven't been keeping up with the last 2 expansions. I'm sorry.
We're gonna rip you back in.
Well, I'll tell you what. In this latest expansion, you did miss
a bit of the thunder from down under going, eh, gang?
Back it up. I like it.
You use the word
I
thunder.
like how we're all just like beating down each other's games.
It's true.
This is a fun episode.
Just one more thing on the gear before we move on, because we've been on this for a long time. I want to say, I think with these other stats, Twiz, I'm kind of directing this at you, sorry. Well, you know, specific classes and specific specs they're stacking one thing, right? Like crit or mastery or haste. You know, when they're taking out like the hit and expertise, you don't have to worry about that, and they're adding these other ones. My hope is, and you know, this is, I guess my hope is they kind of spread that out a little more and don't do the stacking where they spread the gear out well enough where they may have like a haste and amplify and like multi-strike and crit, you know, where it's kind of spread out where you can't stack it so much. So it actually balances a little bit more with just classes in general. So that's my hope. Who knows if they'll do it, but I think that could be good for the game as well.
Well, we are going to have to see. We are just going to have to see, because I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not going to crap all over it. I'm just not I have to experience it. I can't just read about it. I have to actually buckle down, take a good look at it, see what I think. So, it is what it is. So, we definitely have to move on. But let us know what you think. Podcast@blizzpro.com. For those of you who are tinkerers in the Hearthstone, obviously I have to be careful. I have to stand my Hearthstone ground on this show because it is no holds barred tonight, ladies and gentlemen. And you play it in a
Is Hearthstone becoming Diablo?
Right.
Hearthstone is getting lifesteal.
Oh yeah, exactly. If you like to play it in a non-competitive nature, you should know that there's many important parts of how to play this game. There's 2 big parts that you need to know up front. First, when building your deck, you have to know what you want your deck to play like and what your strategy is. Now, I know that's not a big surprise. That's not groundbreaking information, ladies and gentlemen, but what is just as important is knowing the possibilities that your opponent has to play. Okay? You have to know what they could possibly play and try to strategically play your cards off of what they could possibly do to you. Zen Style put together an article called Know Your Foe, and this go around he tackled priest abilities and basically what to look out for. So the first card that he brought up is the Northshire Cleric. The Cleric is a 1 attack, 3 health at 1 mana cost, which means it's great for an opening play. If you see this, you shouldn't be surprised. So what does the Cleric do that's such a big deal? Every time any minion gets healed, not your hero, any minion gets healed, the person who played the cleric draws a card. Card advantage is a huge thing to have, and to be able to toss her out there with 3 health, she's hard to get rid of early in the game. If you already play the minion, be careful attacking because Anduin's hero power, Lesser Heal, will heal her back up and put a card in your opponent's deck. My advice is don't touch her until you can totally kill her. Also be aware of using removal cards. You might need down the road for higher threats. So she's not going to rock your world with 1 attack, so easy, cowboy. As you progress into the middle of the game, take care to watch turn 5. If you've got multiple minions with 2 or less health, expect a very real threat to come in the form of Holy Nova, the priest-specific area of a Spectfell. That's right. It's slow compared to the other class AoE options, but it's got quite a kick. It'll deal 2 damage to you and your minion, and also heal Anduin and his minions for 2. So, assuming that of course, obviously assuming he has any on the board. What I've done as a priest player, and this is when I was really hosed on cards, is I actually used 2 Holy Novas on turn 10. With 5 mana cost, I can deal 4 damage to everything on the board, heal myself and my minions for 4. It's very strong board clear, and if I'm not getting the end game cards that I need, which is what happened, it's something that you could throw out there or be prepared to have thrown at you. So at the end game, especially around turn 8, be careful what you play. Some people are just itching to get Ragnaros onto the board because of the 8 mana cost and the damage that he deals. Priests have this little ability. It's called Mind Control, which will take Ragnaros away from you, and now you have to deal with the problem. There's some good news for people who play against priests and bad news for priest players. We talked about this earlier. Mind Control is getting bumped up to a 10 mana cost. So if you're like me and you have to and you like to have a turn 8 Rags with a turn 9 Ysera, after the next patch you won't have to worry so much about them being stolen, but by turn 10 you can almost expect it because they can't use it any other time until the end game. So Zen Style goes more in depth about what to look out for during these turns, particularly around turn 5 and turn 8. So make sure that you guys are looking up Know Your Foe, the Priest article on BlizzPro.com. So yeah, it's
foe for show.
I thought that was a really good article. I thought it was really good because, in the end, you have to know, it's like, okay, here's what I'm going to play, but what could he do? If he doesn't have the cards, then I'm going to find out on turn 5, or I'm going to find out on turn 8, or whatever. So it's really good. I can't wait to see some of the other Know Your Foe articles that he puts together.
Yes.
I think you should
AKA Know Your Foe douche canoe.
That's no, dude. No, I will never. I just like watching you say that on my screen. Just got burnt into my memory. Like you were just so properly douche canoe. So, anyways, the last article we're gonna cover. In case you've been living under a rock, Ghostcrawler has cashed in his chips.
Why?
I know.
Living under a rock. It's right before the show.
Yeah, pre-show, Lorcan's like, Ghostcrawler, he quit? What?
I'm out of the loop.
It's all right, man. Ghostcrawler hasn't been in Westmarch very much, so don't worry about it.
Rab cursed him out like no other, so
I
it was
might
good.
have
Anyways, Shaman Ronger, he typed the funniest thing I have ever heard in my entire life. He was like, holy snot, we wore out the crab. But anyways, it was announced last week that lead systems designer Greg Ghostcrawler Street will be leaving his home at Blizzard Entertainment to pursue another opportunity. He does not plan to leave the gaming industry. It looks like he has full intentions of being a subscriber to WoW in the future. His final post read this. You know that part of the end of the raid when the final boss is dead and you're handing out loot and everybody goes their separate ways? Yeah, this is one of those times. We just came off a great BlizzCon. We had so many different games to talk about. And we were thrilled at the reception of Warlords of Draenor. It was great to meet and reconnect with so many of you. I love BlizzCon dearly, which makes it so hard to tell you that this will be my last one, or at least my last one on stage. An opportunity has come my way, and I have made a very tough decision to move on from Blizzard. I wanted to thank all of you for being a part of the grand quest. I have said 100 times that having passionate gamers, including the angry ones, is a far better place to be than having a community that doesn't care. You all care. Like us, you want the game to be the best that it can be. So I ask you to keep on providing your feedback. I promise, and I rarely promise, that the developers care very much about what you have to say. I'll be out there, and I can't imagine it will be hard to find me. Hugs, Ghostcrawler. P.S. No, you can't have a pony, or a moose, or a mantis shrimp, or a tardigrade, or a crab. Keep trying, though. PPS. I play a holy priest. So...
That's so sad.
Yeah. So
But he
gone.
blew everybody's mind by he plays a holy priest, not a paladin, right?
Right.
Like, that's what I'm saying.
I know. I know.
Is there anyone from Blizzard that you would be less or more sad to see go?
Chris Metzen.
Zarum.
Yes, thank you, Beb.
Zarum, yeah.
Zarum or Bashiak. Yeah.
That's so sad for
I don't know, Finteo, he was so
Oh
cool.
yeah, that.
Now we're just name
all the
dropping,
CMs,
guys.
yeah.
Come on.
Finteo was like the only one that I talked to.
I really
and he
hate to
was
see
so
this,
nice.
the orc statue out front go. God, I'd really hate to see that.
Big plushy alliance.
I think Archon's the only one that got that joke.
I think it's more of Ghostcrawler, like the personality that I'm sad to see go than like, as much as like you disagreed or agreed with him as like system design, but just his interaction with the community, and he was pretty much like, I guess, the face of Blizzard for like the last 2 years. Just tweeting like nonstop. I'm sad to see that go away, and I hopefully like somebody picks that up.
Yeah. Well, Blizzard they retired his Twitter handle today, and chat room helped me out. You guys were typing it earlier. What his new Twitter handle is? If you were already following at Ghostcrawler, you are now automatically following his new Twitter handle, so you don't have to change anything. But he changed that, and his profile on Twitter, it's at Occupy G Street. Thank you, Cole P.
That's pretty funny.
But he changed his Twitter profile, and it says lead game designer for somewhere else is what it says. Ooh. So I mean, he's in the gaming industry, or he's right now. That leads me to believe that like he's not going under the sea. You know what I mean, or whatever. So
you have to sing it now. Come on.
Under the sea.
That was really good.
You like that?
I was impressed.
Well done.
Yeah, that's the way.
Maybe we could speculate a little bit. So where do you go from Blizzard?
Well,
I'm thinking it's some kind of startup that he has a lot of hope in.
I don't know. I thought WildStar at first, but I don't think that's right.
WildStar does have a lot of Blizzard devs on it.
I would think. I mean, he's well enough. Like, he's well known in the community, so like he's gonna probably go somewhere big. Like a lot of people are speculating, like Riot Games, like be a League of Legends developer. But honestly, like he is a big name, and honestly, anywhere that he goes, it would be an upgrade for him to have to leave Blizzard. It would have to be a big beast. And I'll be honest, Twiz, Ghostcrawler has an impressive enough background that he could pretty much work anywhere he wants.
Absolutely. I totally agree. So we here at TwizzCast have been brainstorming some ideas of what he could possibly do. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you this week's top 10 list. Off we go. The top 10 jobs we might see Ghostcrawler moving on to. Ringing in at number 10, wielding dual foam crossbows as lead engineer at Nerf.
Number 9, head waiter at Joe's Crab Shack. No one knows crabs better. Get your mind out of the gutter, people.
True.
Subway sandwich artist. Nerfing sandwiches from 6'12" to 4 to 8 inches.
Number 7, he will be the new face for Mr. Clean. You laugh now, but just you wait and see.
Number 6, lead role as Sebastian for Disney on Ice. You better work on that accent first, though.
The number 5 job we might see Ghostcrawler move on to, an actor in the upcoming WoW movie. Sadly, the only weapon he'll have is Nerf bat.
Ooh. Number 4, a garbage man. He's already used to taking crap for everyone anyways, so why not?
Number 3, designer of ponies, moose, mantis shrimp, and all the things you ever wanted in WoW, but in a different game.
Cold.
Number 2, Chuck Norris sidekick. So now we'll have Walker, Texas Ranger, and Crawler, California Nerfer.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Oh, and the number 1 job that we might see Ghostcrawler move on to, nowhere. He's really moving back in with his parents, where he'll be living in his basement to browse forums and social media, writing messages about how his successor hates holy priests. It gets no better than that. My name is Twiz.
My name is Dwendon.
My name is Rodimus.
Honey Buns.
Piercy.
Sosa.
Sucker.
Triumphy.
Zorander.
Punch Pop Fizz.
Danger's Agony.
Death Dance.
Use a Band-Aid.
I run an elemental shaman.
I'm a Tauren Druid.
Enhancement Shaman.
A Shadow Priest.
Play a Windwalker Monk.
Blood Death Knight.
Fury Warrior. Feral Druid.
A Holy Priest. Frost Mage.
Brewmaster Monk.
I play an enhancement shaman.
Elemental Shaman. I'm from Memphis, Tennessee.
I'm from Illinois.
I'm from Ontario, Canada.
Fort Myers, Florida.
I live in Ashland, Alabama.
Peru, Illinois.
From Portsmouth, Ohio.
Colorado.
From Dover, Delaware.
I live in Pembroke, Ontario, Canada.
San Diego, California.
From Las Cruces, New Mexico.
Tennessee. And I'm in Twisted Dynasty.
I'm in Twisted Empire.
Twisted Empire.
Twisted Empire.
Twisted Empire. Twisted Dynasty.
I am in Twisted Kingdom.
The Twisted Empire.
And I am in Twisted Empire.
And I am in Twisted Empire.
And I am in Twisted Dynasty.
Twisted Empire. I'm in Twisted Empire. Twisted Dynasty.
I am the GM for Twisted Dynasty.
And I run the Twisted Nation. Ladies and gentlemen, it is no secret if you've been listening to this show that Twisted Empire is a big part of the gaming community. Over a year ago, there were 10 of us that said this is what we need to become, and here we are today. The Horde side of the community wears the Twisted Empire tag, the Twisted Kingdom tag, and the Alliance side displays Twisted Dynasty. Everyone who wears these tags knows that there is a 50-50 split between the game you play and the people that you play with. We don't look down on people for not being heroic progression raiders. We also don't look down on people who ask honest questions because they just don't know the answers. I owed it to myself to be surrounded by people who want to enjoy the game. And let's be honest, so do you. It's time to stop logging into game and feeling like you're droning around in circles all day, surrounded by people who don't care about you and don't know you. Twisted Empire, Twisted Kingdom, and Twisted Dynasty. All 3 guilds located on the Kultiris US server. Welcome home.
Been sitting here copying the mail at the home 20.
Okay, we got some emails here, and these are some of the coolest parts of the show. We got a whole bunch of crap we're giving away, guys. Just a ridiculous amount of crap.
Crap
to give away.
Have our crap. That's very. I don't know.
What?
Where'd Rev go?
It's not crap. It's good stuff. You know what I mean. Crap is in cumulative, not crap is in garbage. So there's a fine line. So, okay, real quick, one of the things that I do want to announce that I did not announce earlier, because I wanted to save it for that commercial, was Twisted Dynasty now has a new guildmaster.
What?
Yep. Yep. We have done some switching around. Honey, everybody knows her, everybody loves her. She's one of my favorite people. She has moved primarily to Twisted Empire, because that's where the majority of her rating has happened and everything like that. And so we had a talk, and got basically one thing led to another. We had a few drinks. No, I'm kidding. We didn't go there. But it got brought up that Blue Orion at BLU3 Orion has stepped up and is now the new guild master for Twisted Dynasty. So big congrats to him.
Yay, Blue!
Exactly. Yep, congrats to Blue. And he's going to do a great job. He also does the Twisted Devil, which is Twisted Empire's Diablo 3 get together, group up, hang out, go kill some demons. So if you're watching Twitter, I retweet on at Twisted Nation KT when he's doing that. He's been a huge supporter of the show, huge supporter of the Twisted Nation, huge supporter of Twisted Dynasty. Couldn't think of a better person for the spot. So, congrats to him, and make sure you shoot him a tweet or whatever, and say hi to him in game. So,
you're my boy Blue.
Yeah, you're my boy Blue. But oh gosh, I thought about doing it in Sebastian voice.
Sorry.
Ariel. So the first email we got was from Liz, who is one of the hosts of the Spotlight on Blizz Pro TV.
Love Liz.
She says the title of the email is Vanilla Swirl. Okay. Hi, Twiz, Archon, Hoda, and Reb. Upon further research into the stat squish, I am more convinced that Blizzard is trying to give us some of that old vanilla WoW feeling.
Here you go, Archon.
It's the opposite of what I was saying.
Bring it up. That is a lot easier now.
I know it.
I'm listening.
I remember when the 3K backstab was amazing. Healing a tank up to their full 20k health from 5k was exciting and a bit nerve-wracking. While we still have situations where the tank can drop dangerously low, it's not quite the same, mentally speaking.
No tanks had 20k health in vanilla. I'm sorry.
Okay. 22k.
Sorry. Go on. I'll stop nitpicking.
Whoa.
You get the idea. We're going to throw, that's it. We're going to, everybody, after the show, outside at the flagpole, we are just going to go.
I know what it's like.
We are going to go 12 rounds of throwdown on each other. Elbows. Hoda bites. I'm warning you ahead of time. He bites dirty and he bites.
Yes. Oh, what?
So. Okay, anyways, back to the email. Liz says, I think going back to the lower numbers will increase the overall player enjoyment. We're still playing the hero. We're still working together to defeat a strong enemy, but the psychology is just not there like it used to be. I think going back to less zeros at the end of all the numbers will focus the players more. WoW is more than just a game. It's an immersive world where we spend part of our lives. We have friends in this world. This is a world where we can help write the story. So I say once more, into the breach, dear friends, and let loose the dogs of war. As for garrisons, can we have them look like TARDISes? Bigger on the inside? What's a TARDIS?
It's from Doctor Who, if I'm not
I'm
mistaken.
stealing one nerd card from you, Twiz, just so you know.
Okay. No.
I guess you gotta take one from me too.
It's a
I'll find
doctor.
a Reb.
Yes.
It's like the Harry Potter tent when he is in the Goblet of Fire. You know how he's like the tent, and then he goes inside and it's like, wow!
10 points to
Reb. I have to find another nerd card for you because I don't.
I'm right there with you, Archon. Who the hell is Harry Potter?
I know.
Jeez. So, anyways, okay. All right, back to the email.
Yo, let's go down fight right now.
I know. So, anyways, talking about the losing the epic feeling, and here's where she hit home, and I talked about this on one of the previous episodes, but you know what? When I was playing the Warlords of Draenor, Alpha, Beta, whatever, Gamma, who knows? When I was playing that at BlizzCon, I paid less attention to the numbers, I found out, and I worked on killing the boss. I worked mechanics. You know, I looked at everything, and I didn't realize how much I paid attention to the numbers. And I think that's the exact epic feeling that she's talking about right here. This is what she's referring to is, you know, lop off some of the zeros and bring us back into the game, back into the world again. And I completely see what she's saying, and I completely agree with it.
Ditto.
Good
point, Liz. Also, I like the idea of your garrison being much, much bigger on the inside.
And great reference. Don't listen to these people. It was awesome. I like it.
Who the hell is Harry Potter?
5k health in vanilla was a lot of health. Just so you know.
Yeah, tanks were like.
Are you going back to
right?
crapping on us again? I don't know. I can't tell you.
He's just looking at old like screenshots of vanilla. I bet he's like, nope, didn't happen.
I remember once we were trying to race through BWL, and we went and we got every single health buff you could possibly get in the game. Like a couple from ZG, a couple from Strathrath. What? I can't even say the word right now. Reputation. Anyways, Strathelm. There you go. Anyways, our tank ended up with 9,000 health, and that was with like fully buffed. So that's what I remember that. And I'll stop being all nitpicky now. You can go on to the next email.
Gonna say.
Well, you know what?
Thank God you didn't talk about what kind of dog you have, Liz, because Archon would have tore that to shreds too.
Shih Tzu. What is
this? What is it? That's not a dog. That's a rodent. So, all right. Next email that we have is a little donation from Cole P. He was in the chat room. Holler. He says, "Hey everyone, this email doesn't exactly pertain to the topic of discussion, but I wanted to give away some games to a live listener tonight. I'll be there too, but here's the link." So to claim it, the person's going to have to click on the link and enter the name. Basically, he sent me a whole bunch of codes for games on Steam. And
Humble Bundle.
Yes, the Humble Bundle. And I have one for Gary's Mod. Have you ever played Gary's Mod?
Yeah.
It's like a first-person shooter type feel. But he sent me a bunch of them. One for Natural Selection 2, Sanctum 2, Magicka, plus the DLC, Orcs Must Die 2, the complete pack, and Serious Sam 3.
Orcs Must Die.
So
I've played all but that last one, and they are awesome.
Well, there you have it. Archon stepped up and let you guys know it's awesome.
Archon probably did crap on something.
Serious Sam, I don't know about that one.
Well, so here's the thing: is real quick, anybody in the chat room that wants one of these, send me a message here on Twitch and let me know which one that you would like to get. And at Cole_TE on Twitter and in the chat room, make sure that you guys give him a high five. That's very cool. It's the community using me to give to the community, and I'm a fan of that. I'm all about it. So if you guys are interested, whatever one you want, send me an email and I'll get you the keys. Again, we have Gary's Mod, Natural Selection 2, Sanctum 2, Magicka, plus the downloadable content. I have Magicka. That is a beast game. Orcs Must Die 2, the complete pack, and Serious Sam 3. So hit me up if you are interested. Or if you're, podcast at BlizzPro.com. First come, first serve, kids. So, the next email that we got is from our friends at Open Raid.
Yay, Battle
Right?
Panda.
Yes. So, what I have to do here is bring up the email that she sent me because I didn't have time to get it in the show notes. So, here's what's going on, guys. Open Raid has been nice enough to donate a Hearthstone beta key. So. What? That's right. So chat room, start tearing it up. If you are not in Hearthstone and you would like a beta key, just type beta. And we are going to have Hoda pick one at random.
Oh, no!
That's right. You get the hate this week. You get the hate. So start lighting it up with beta. And in the meantime, I'm going to talk about Open Raid. All right. Here's what Open Raid's got going on, guys. They have a Battle of the Sexes coming up. 12 teams compete for the fastest Siege of Orgrimmar flex clear and glory for their region and gender. Right? Happening between Christmas and New Year's. Teams will be US, EU, Oceanic, Horde Alliance, boys and girls. So, make sure you're heading over to Open Raid and getting all up in that. Hearthstone Night. Come enjoy matches with Open Raid staff on the weekend of December 14th. Hosted from their Twitch channel. So make sure you go check out the Hearthstones that they got going on, like their kidney stones or something.
That's what I was thinking.
Check out the kidney stones they're passing. It's great.
It's all about that.
Who the hell's Harry Potter?
So, anyways, now they are also looking for beta testers for their updated Open Raid add-on. So hit me up, podcast@blizzpro.com, if it's something that you want to look at. And I will forward your information to them. Be sure to follow at Dairy Pants, DARRIE Pants, and at Open Raid for all the news and events announcements. So Dairy was actually the one that sent this email. She said, give my love to your listeners, and I will be back in the chat room soon if I can stay awake that long. So she was in the chat room tonight, and she also sent me. Yeah. Oh, is she still here? I'm in the email, so I can't see right now. But she says, I totally missed you guys. TwizzCast chat room forever. Forever, never. So, it's very cool. So, Hoda, did you find somebody who needs a beta key?
I don't know. People are yelling at me to give it to Liz, and I would love to, but not to seem like I'm playing favorites. I'm gonna give it to a random person. There wasn't actually many people that needed it, so it's kind of good, I guess. So I'm gonna choose Ramen the Monk.
Ramen the Monk.
Yes.
Ramen the Monk.
Ramen the Monk.
Congrats.
Ramen.
That sounds delicious.
Ramen.
At least the first part.
Now, here's a cool thing. There's somebody that frequents our chat room, okay? And his name... Oh, he's not in here right now. I thought he would be for sure. His name is Twitch Smartass. And seriously, I don't know. He follows me. He follows on Twitter. I've seen him in the chat room several times. He's in here almost every week. He was probably in here earlier.
But we do have an intelligent gluteus maximus.
Do we?
Oh. We do.
Right there.
So, but he sent me a direct message on Twitter, and he's like, "Dude, I got another beta key. Do you want it? And to give away on the show to one of your people in the chat room?" And I'm like, "It's up to you, man. If you want to if you have one that you want me to give away, then I will certainly find somebody who can use it." So, I have another one, and Sparkplug's in here. He got one last week. And so, yeah, you know what? I'm going to, I'm going to give that one to Liz.
Nice.
Yay!
I'll give that one to Liz. Twitch Smartass. He would have wanted it that way. So, anyways.
In his memory.
Yeah. But you know what? Here's what's happening is, like, it's going to go into open beta this month anyways. Or so that's what's on the timeline. We will see if that's happened, or if that is going to happen. But I'm not too awful concerned about it. But yeah, I'm a huge fan. Now, also, Rodimus sent me...
He's from Alabama.
He is. He's a Torn druid.
I know Rodimus.
Yep. Rodimus has sent TwizzCast a little box of love. And it's not the kind that you need a mop and bucket for. It is a whole bunch of... That's right, I said it. We've gotten to the point now.
Agreed.
So, anyways, it's got all the stuff from BlizzCon in a box. It's got a whole bunch of stuff. It's got Heroes of the Storm koozies, like a ton of them, and noisemakers, and tattoos, and buttons, and Rodimus, what was the thing that you sent me that was like the 3 boxes of something? I mean, they were like origami boxes, and get this, dice bags. There was dice bags in there.
Oh, the dice bags.
Yep.
Thank God it's not dime bags.
So, yeah, right? So I'm going to be... I got it at the end of the day today, and I didn't have time to inventory it and put it all together and stuff like that. But what I'm going to do is there's a couple things I'll give away exclusively on the show. But when people win stuff or whatever, like I mailed out a couple of license plate frames 2 weeks ago. When I mail out the stuff I'm going to just throw some of this stuff in there as well. So... but very cool. You know what an awesome community that gives so much, and I'm just happy that I've got people that I can pass it on to. So, yeah, if you want your free crap, come to TwizzCast. That should be a commercial.
Yes. That was it. I think that was good.
That was it.
We could maybe edit out some of the things we were saying.
I think you just record that and just replay it on every episode.
If you want your free crap, come to Twizz. All right, everybody. That is going to bring this episode of TwizzCast to a close. Thank you for joining us. Make sure that you are keeping an eye out next Wednesday night, the 11th of December, as we go live with some of the biggest names in the Diablo 3 community and Blizzard Entertainment while we design a legendary and put the finishing touches on it. So, for all the information is on the articles and stuff that we covered in this episode, you can go to TwizzCast.com, BlizzPro.com, or Rebster's Dictionary, and you'll find the links to everything. One more quick mention of our sponsors, Doghouse Systems. If you're going to upgrade your rig, make sure you're using the coupon code TWIZ to double your memory. It's a no-brainer. And it's not only do you save money on your RAM, but you get the best customer service you're ever going to get from a PC company, hands down. And slashloot.com, get yourself a TwizzCast t-shirt, and our newest sponsor, Steel Series. Let's see here. Archon, do you have anything that you would like to say to the masses before we get out of here?
Oh, man, this has been one of our longest shows since I've been on, but I think it's been one of our best shows.
I believe it.
Had a lot of fun tonight.
It's true. It's true. We're at 2 hours and 8 minutes, but our last one was 2:35.
Wow. So, yeah. Well, it's been a lot of fun. Thanks for hanging out, guys.
Absolutely. Hoda?
Just to say,
You're getting the brass knuckles ready. I see you.
I know. I'm ready to fight. I can't. Okay. To change it up for a sec. Everybody, thank you for listening. And remember, Hoda loves you. Yes, even you.
I like it.
I'm sticking with it.
Good. Catch on. Just keep saying it.
I'm going to try to catch it on. Don't make it weird, Twizz.
Dear?
Don't make it weird.
I won't. I'm not even looking at you in the eye right now.
I'm gonna let you finish.
Okay, Kanye.
I would like to say that gaming will be whatever you want it to be. So make it beautiful. And Archon, you can suck it. Twizz, you can suck it. And Hoda, you can suck it.
There you have it. So
that's what this has become.
That's where we've landed. So until next week, everybody, we here at TwizzCast encourage you to game safe, love one another, and please, everyone within the sound of my voice, who's Harry Potter? Hey guys, you've been listening to TwizzCast, the official podcast of BlizzPro.com. You can follow us all on Twitter at TwizzCast, at TwizzTE, at TankThatReb, and at Willie_Foss. The show notes and articles that we discuss can be found at BlizzPro.com. And if you'd like to drop us a line, send the email to podcast@BlizzPro.com. Thanks again, and we will catch you next week.